Oh, what's just happened? Did it finish? I didn't even have my... I wasn't even looking then. That's pretty good, isn't it? There we are. Wasn't even looking. I was like, oh, it's got a minute to go. No, it's finished. Hello, everybody. Ooh, just having some G Fuel. Yeah, just tipped some of it on my leg through the McDonald's plastic spoon, which collects water. Great. Anyway, right, dry myself off. Hello, everybody. God, I look a bit red-faced tonight. What is all that then? What's all that? Is my white balance off or something? Let me have a look. What's going on? I look a bit red-faced. Yeah, let's put a bit of colour in. I don't want to look like that. That makes me look like an old straw. There we are. Bit more natural looking, he says. Right. Anyway, it's quite late, and I need the G Fuel because I've been out this evening on an explore. Went to have a look at an old mansion house. It's quite interesting. And Claire from whatever she's now called, used to be Urban Paranormal 666, but now it's something else. So I'd love to tell you what she's called, but because she keeps changing the name so frequently, I ain't got a bloody clue. But anyway, Claire, you know, the one that does the paranormal stuff with her husband Lol. So I went out with them, and yeah, it was quite good. But it was a late nighter, and she's been busy today. She was out. She drove 5 hours today, all around, you know, and then came and did this one this evening. So yes, people got no idea. Oh, I'll tell you what, I'm going to keep that spoon in there because it's just leaked on me again. Why do they do that? It's like they put a little hole, and it collects water, and if you tip it sideways, then it pisses the water over you. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, right. Hello to everybody. There's 55 in the chat channel. Let me see who's in. Anthony Wilkinson, Neo Adventures, Camp Busker, who's now called Camp Busker SDIT Jacks, whatever that means. Weird. And he says the security seemed way too relaxed in part one. Yeah, I'd agree. I can't understand why. That's why I took it out, because it keeps getting in my mouth when I'm trying to drink. I just need the G Fuel to wake me up, because I'm bloody tired now after all the shenanigans this evening. So I've been out doing an explore. Total time out has been about 4 hours. So there we are. You know, has anybody else been out and explore on Boxing Day? It's what Boxing Day, isn't it? Yeah, it's Boxing Day. Right. Yeah, I think some people, even though a lot of people have pointed out, and I agree, that some of those bits aren't on the base. The bases have their own security fences, and it wasn't like as if I could just drive into the actual bases. But if you look at how close those fences are to the buildings, I would say, in my opinion, if I was in charge, that's a problem. Allowing people to get that close to the fence lines of buildings that have some of the most dangerous pathogens and viruses and nerve agents under test, for people to be able to drive a vehicle up that close, not good. Not good. I mean, I'm not a terrorist, okay? But just imagine if somebody lobbed a grenade, fired a shell, a rocket launcher, drove in up to the edge of it with a massive van bomb, then I think you could pretty much, if some of that stuff got out, it might be bye-bye for everybody on the planet, so they say. Don't know if that's true, but it wouldn't be a good day. Not at all. But there we go. So I think they'll definitely be reviewing what I've done, and they'll be looking into whether or not to speak to me, or whether or not just to tighten up their own security so that other people can't attempt what I have done. And I think that's a good thing, because I was surprised how close I could get, and it just seemed a little bit odd to me. And I remember years ago when simply pulling up on the main road outside, which is a good mile away, it's a good mile from the base, and just pulling up there was usually MOD police, and I've been asked questions a few times, and sort of like, what are you doing? And they've just seemed to, everything's gone right up to the base now. So I would imagine it would be a much better idea to just not let people drive in from the local housing estate, and the local town, to drive, have to go past a checkpoint would be a good idea, don't you think? But hey, whatever. But what do I know? I don't know. I don't know what realistically their security procedures are, but I would imagine it wouldn't be able to stop some quite serious damage, with rockets and bombs. And hey, I like my life, and I like the planet, and I would like life on the planet to continue. So when I do these things, I'm doing them to kind of tell them to kind of look again, just look again, and think about what you have out there, and whether or not, if somebody was able to get near it, whether that would be a problem. Anyway, there we go. So that's why I'm doing this stuff. So, and that's what I'm gonna say if I get arrested and put in a cell, because it's the truth. I've been doing this stuff for years, and it's like, if I can get close to these places and they get pissy and pissed off, well, it just makes them buckle up their own ideas, doesn't it? So there you go. So yeah, I feel quite warm though. I think it's because I've been doing stuff this evening. Right, who else have we got? Camp Busker, Lee, Dark Dreams, Lee Bridgewater, Lee, Epic Gaming Moments, Sab the Seeker, Silver Dawn Croom. Oh, okay. It's a new one. Hi from Seattle. Hello. Neo Adventure. Scoob. Where's Scoob then? Hi Scoob, somebody said. Has he changed his name again or something then? Nate Webb from Seattle. Yes, hello. Oh, there's two from. So there we are, Nate. There's another one from Seattle, look. Silver Dawn Croom. Haley Homer, Sunshine Dragon, G8 SBS. That's a ham radio, probably. Simon Broberg, Chris Baxter, Stephen Abbott, Anthony Wilkinson, yeah. Sue Lindsay, Dizzy, Stephen Abbott, Ant Davis, Adu Manta, The Bearded Drifter, Melissa Jones, hello, and LK, hello. Scoobs is epic. Is he? Dinkum Aussie, hello, hello, hello. Thomas Kamudu. South East Rail Productions, Paul Taylor and Rainbow Rat, and Robert Cheney. There we are. Hello from Cortland, Ohio, USA. Hello. Yeah. Matt DWMC. And that's it, I think. That's it. So, right, I said I'd come on. I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but let's just sort of start at the beginning. Right, if anybody doesn't know what I was using at the beginning in my my video, it's a site called Altitude Angel, and then when you go into it, it redirects you to dronesafetymap.com. So you can just go to Drone Safety Map if you want, and it brings up a map and it shows you areas which are, well, I was going to say, the colours don't necessarily correspond to how dangerous something is, but I mean, like, if you click on this, it'll tell you it's an airport. So yellow would be pretty damn dangerous for you to go flying a drone near a yellow. But then you've got the reds, which are controlled airspace. But not all airspace is controlled that's pink. So you kind of have to know what you're looking at, really. And I mean, like this in here, yeah, I mean, that kind of is yellow in there. It's not easy to see. But anyway, it just tells you where the places are that you've got to be careful of, and you might not want to kind of be near. Most of London is covered by airspace, so they don't want you to fly in most of London with a drone. But in general, if you use an air map, air maps will tell you where you can and can't fly an aircraft, and these correspond pretty much to the same sort of places that you can't fly a drone. There really isn't much difference, and my understanding of it is that if you use a real air map, you can pretty much say that even though somebody has put a thing saying no drones here, you can kind of ignore that. That's more of a request that people have made. We don't want drones over this area, so they end up putting them on the drone maps. But drone maps aren't legal maps for flying. So if you use a real air map and you check the NOTAMs, which is like a daily update for whether or not certain airspace or areas are, there's dangerous activity going on, or there's an air show and you don't want to fly your drone because they'll have to cancel the air show. All that sort of stuff is in the NOTAMs. But if you keep yourself up to date with what's active, what's not active, and if you use websites like this as a general guide, you can see that here we are back at where I was on my thing. You've got Boscombe down. That's the airfields. Okay, now I'm just going to restate in case anyone didn't understand it. Right, see the mats, this bit here, you can fly in the mats, but only as much up to the circle in the middle, which is the aerodrome. Okay, so you cannot fly a drone near an aerodrome. Okay, now when they're not active and the control tower is not active, you would be able to fly an aircraft straight through here, straight across the top of the runway. Okay, but when you're talking about a drone, there are different rules. So drones are not allowed to fly near airfield full stop, because they're not a normal aircraft. Okay, so that's where the rules change. If they weren't active and you couldn't speak to a control tower at the base, you could fly an aircraft straight through the middle of it. But for us drone pilots, you ignore and you stay away from airfields. So you'd have to stay away from the middle of that one, the middle of that one, and all of that one. Yeah. But the pink bits around the edge, for a drone pilot like myself, they are, fair game. You could, as long as it doesn't intersect something that's a restricted area like these danger zones. Okay, now this is the Salisbury Plain danger area, and I actually live up here, just in case you're interested, in Market Lavington. Okay, now these areas are activated or deactivated on a daily or weekly basis, and they notify you via the NOTAMs, and it can tell you the heights. Look, in this area, they're saying, on this side, they say you cannot fly in this area up to 50,000 feet, which is higher than any commercial airliner would normally be going, because they tend to be 30 to 40,000 feet. So basically they're saying no airliners, no aircraft, nothing can fly over there right now. Okay, but some days this will be deactivated, so you could, in theory, in an aircraft, fly across here, no problem. Okay, and within reason, provided you don't take off from on the MOD land. So if you're not standing in the pink bit, if you're standing off here in a bit that doesn't require permission, so if you're down there, you could fly over the MOD land and back out again and not be breaking the law. Okay, they don't let you fly drones on the Salisbury Plain, but technically they can't stop you flying over there as long as you didn't take off from the Salisbury Plain. So you'd be within the law doing it then. Anyway, I digress. So there are some exceptions to where you can fly, but say for instance now the danger area here crosses into a mats. So if I say, well, this mats, I can fly all around the edge here on the right hand side. I could fly in the stub, yeah, but I cannot fly in the mats when it becomes a danger area again, if that danger area is active. Okay, now here's the thing. If you don't know it's active, you have to assume it is active. Okay, if you know for certain it's not active, you're good to go. But if you don't know, you have to assume it is active. And you can get yourself in some trouble flying into danger areas, but you would be okay flying in the mats. So you see where things cross each other? That's where you've got to watch out the crossings. So here we are, Boscombe down, mats, you can fly all the way around the edge. I could fly through this stub, right up to this airfield point, you see, but I cannot fly in the airfield area. Okay, that's controlled airspace from the point of view of a drone. So I can fly in this part of the stub, but not up to the yellow. You know, you can't go in across the yellow. So again, here I could be flying in this part of the mats, but I couldn't fly in any part of this because it is inside this danger area, which belongs to Porton Down. So anything there, as long as I don't cross into that area. So I hope that makes some sense. And again here, this part of the next mats, which is Middle Wallop Airfield, I could fly my drone down in this area of the mats, in this area and this area and the stub. I could do that if I wanted to, but I wouldn't be able to come into the yellow areas, which are controlled airspace again. So, and similarly with this airfield up here, I could fly all the way around the pink bits around the edge, but not into the airfield area there, which is Thruxton, which is not military. It's a private airfield, but it does have this restriction zone over the top of it, but it's not. I'm not entirely certain what that is, because I don't think it's a mats. I'm not sure if that is a mats, even though it looks like it would. It just says flight restriction zone. Okay, so that probably means no, you couldn't fly in that bit, and you can't fly in that bit. Okay, now I know this is a mats, and I think that's a mats. I'm absolutely certain that's a mats. I think that's a mats. I think that's probably some sort of restricted airspace, so you wouldn't be able to fly in that. So it's really down to the pilot, you know, whether or not they know what they're doing. And you see they've got a telephone number here you can ring. So if you want to know whether or not it's cool to be in this pink area, you definitely won't get permission unless you speak to the control tower and tell them what you're doing and how long you're going to be in there for. The control tower may allow you to fly within this airspace because it's a civilian airport, and within reason they will allow you to do certain things, but you have to get on the phone to them, and possibly also in the pink bit here. But there's the telephone number to ring if you wanted to find out. But in this bit, the mats here, you see, you can actually ring. You can ring this number if you want to speak to the control tower, but it's not exactly necessary. But you wouldn't be able to fly into the this area unless you had permission. Okay. So there we are. That's how it works, basically, folks. And I mean, you could try and ring Porton Down and ask them whether you can have permission to fly in this area, but I think I know what the answer would be to that. They wouldn't be happy to know that you were trying to do it. They would want to know where you are. But if you told them, well, I'm staying legal, I'm outside the line, but I'm inside the mats, but I'm still outside the line, you could probably get away with it. And you can see there's Porton Down. That's the facility there. I'll just bring it up into satellite mode now, aerial. There we are, there it is. So that's Porton Down there. You'd be okay up here, as you've seen. So here's the railway line. That's the railway line. As long as you stay away from that, you should be okay. But there we go. There we are. So, and it says here, railway hazard area. You see that? They're actually showing you that it's a hazard area, but it doesn't mean you can't fly there. It's just that's just an advisory. They're just saying, hey, it's a railway. Do you really want to be flying above a railway? I don't think a drone represents much of a threat to railway. Okay, but if you actually look at the pink line, see that pink line? That's where it ends. So technically, you could come a smidgen over the railway line towards the red line, because I think you can ignore them saying it's a hazard to fly over the railway line. That's inconsequential. The thing that will really get you in trouble is the red line there. Okay, so as you saw, I was almost directly overhead the railway line at one or two times, but that's not a problem because this line is inconsequential. So there we are. There we are. And it says the landowner in this vicinity requires approval for takeoff and landing. Yeah, well, I'm not going to be asking to take off from the side of a railway track, am I? So, yeah, you don't have to worry about that. Right, let's see what people have got to say. What have they got to say? And if you've got any questions now, if you want to put them in capitals, I'll try and answer them in relation to what I've done so far. And let's have a look. Right, let's have a look. 231. Let's have a look. Pink bits, Stinker Mozzie says, yes. Never fly your drone up the pink bits. Yeah. Even no matter how much pleasure it causes. And it's a stupid question, but would a drone cause a problem if it flew near pylons? It's not a problem to fly near a pylon as long as you observe the general rule that you're not supposed to be more than 50 feet away from. Oh, sorry. I'm just trying to think now. Is it 50 feet? I was kind of forgetting now. I think it's I think it's 50. Is it 50 feet? God, I'm forgetting now. I think it's either 150 feet, 150 feet. I think from any person, building, or animal. Yeah, I think it's 150 feet from any person, building, or animal. It can go down to 50 feet if you haven't got a camera on your drone. Okay, so then the distance comes down. It's to do with privacy. Okay, so if you've got a camera on your drone, it's 150 feet. If you had permission to fly closer to the pylon, you could. Say, for instance, you're doing works, surveying, you'd be all right as long as you had permission. But here's the thing, flying close to pylons, especially high voltage pylons, could easily interfere with the systems on your drone. So you could lose control and it could crash into the pylon, which isn't going to cause any damage to the pylon, nor the wires, to be perfectly honest. I mean, they're very, very solid. But if your drone got hung up there, you're not getting it back. They're not going to turn the power off for your drone. You know, they're not going to turn the power off to get up there to get your drone. So I would say it's probably in your best interest not to fly too close to pylons. Buildings, 150 feet. And large groups of people. If you look at the rules, I think it tells you how many thousands of people, you have to stay a certain distance away. So, yeah. But if you fly directly over a pylon at 400 feet and it's well below you, but I think a lot of pylons, are they 150 feet now? I'm just trying to remember how high pylons are. Is it 150 feet high? What's the height of a normal UK pylon? Let's have a look. Height of UK pylons. Height is, it's 118 feet. So I would have called it 150 feet. So if you go 400 foot and you go over the top, I should just show you my screen really, shouldn't I? Let's just bring you back to here. Yeah, if you fly 400 foot over a pylon looking down, you'll be okay. And if you stay 150 feet either side, you'll be legal. So if you're 150 feet above the highest point of the pylon, so that would be then, if you say it's 150 feet, that would mean you'd have to be a minimum of 300 foot to stay 150 feet vertically away from it, or from the sides 150 feet, you're legal. But whether or not it causes you problems with your drone or not is another thing. I definitely would not suggest taking off or using your controller near a pylon, because it would probably not only interfere with the reception for the drone, it would interfere with the reception for the transmitter that you're controlling the drone with. So it's just not a good idea all round. But there we are. Let's have a look. Melissa Jones says, "Great, I'm about 7 beers down." Really? Are you feeling better then? You go to bed or something? Um, I'm just looking at some questions. If you want any ask any specifics, put them in capital so I can see them. Um, and I'll send out a link in a minute so people can come on. I don't want to keep it too long tonight because I have been out and I'm quite tired. Although this G Fuel's kicking in quite nicely now. I don't feel quite as tired. My eyes were sort of starting to get a little bit like this earlier on. Yeah. Lee Bryant says it's the Army's playground. Yeah, the Salisbury Plain is where they do a lot of training. It's right behind my house, and sometimes we wake up in the mornings and we have bombs being dropped and helicopters, gunships, all sorts of stuff. Flares going up quite a lot. You get used to it. It's like living in a bloody war zone sometimes. You know, you wake up in the morning, it's like boom, and the house shakes. You know, and it's like big bombs going off and machine guns and all sorts of fun. But you know, you just get used to it. You just know when not to go up there if the red flags are flying, or you know, check the danger activity status. There's a website for it. You can check it out. But if it's not active, sometimes the gates are open. You can drive right across the Salisbury Plain on the tracks. So it's an interesting place. You can drive all the way across there. Rudely honest chat stirrer. You turkey sarnies. Okay, fair enough. Oh dear. Yeah. So what else we got saying? I'm actually hungry again. Yeah, or they want some turkey sarnies. Yeah, leftovers basically. Yeah. You know, I just had a cheese sandwich before I came on. I had a cheese sandwich with garlic mayonnaise and then Tabasco sauce. Lovely. Right, Chris Bland, hello. Let's have a look. Brilliant footage. I threw mine over a pylon, not literally physically through it. You mean flew it, not through it. Over a pylon recently, 300 foot up. Yeah, that's fine. You're legal. You're legal. But remember, you know, to add on the height of where the pylon is, if you take off, it zeroes your height. So if you're flying towards pylons that are uphill, yeah, then you've got to add that extra uphill onto the height. If you're flying downhill, you'll be safe because it'll always be lower than you, and you'll always be higher than that 150. If it says 150, you're doing even higher than that. So remember that it zeroes it. It doesn't show you above sea level. It shows you the height at zero is when you take off from the ground. That zeroes your height. That's the height that it shows you in the screen. So yeah, right. Hiya Taffy, how are you doing, man? Yeah, epic gaming moments. He's driven across the Salisbury Plain. It's part of my many pints of water I drink every day now. Oh, so yeah. Anybody got any questions about any of this Porton Down stuff? Did I do a live stream? I can't remember. Did I actually do a live stream after the first one? I'm starting to lose bloody track now. Let me just have a quick look. Did I do a live stream after the first Porton Down one? Nuclear bomb stores Plymouth after chat. No, we didn't do one, did we? So this is it. So this is incorporating the very first one then, because we didn't do a chat about it. Right then. Well, if that's the case, yeah, I thought it was quite crazy, really, how close I was able to get, and you know, just driving up to these places, and being able to sort of like look at the registrations of all the cars there, and you know, it just seemed like it just seemed way too close for me. Epic whinging moaning says, ever worry about the military police kicking down your door? Well, you know, could happen. I've been arrested a few times. They come round the house, they turn over your stuff, they nick your gear and they take it away and then they have to give it back. Yeah, I'm totally prepared for it. It's pretty shit, but it is what it is. By the way, if you are watching MOD or military police or whatever, I suggest, if before you go knocking in my door and getting all gung ho, speak to Special Branch, because they've got a file on me. I know this. They got a file on me. Speak to Special Branch, have a word with them. Also, I know that Rudlow Manor know me very well in Corsham, so have a chat with the MOD police there. Andrew, the dog handler, has met me so many times. We're on first name terms now, you know. So if you want to kind of get a heads up on whether or not I'm actually a threat or not, I believe I'm not a threat to you. But if you don't have access to that information and you decide to just get, you know, like clever on your own, you'll probably be disappointed, because you can come in my house, you can take my shit, you'll have to give it back. It'll be a wasted day in the cells for me, but I'm gonna get over it. You know, life will carry on. It won't stop me from doing what I do, because I've been doing what I do now for about 25 years. So therefore, you know, hanging around military bases, taking photos, putting stuff up online, talking about stuff. Yeah, you know, MOD don't like it, but I don't think you're really going to be stopping me from doing it. So just have a chat with Special Branch. They'll fill you in on the details and let you know about what they've ascertained, because they've done investigations into me in the past, and they've spoken to people who know me, and they've asked people, what's he like, is he a threat, blah 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 blah. The only person they never spoke to is me. So yeah, there's big files out there on me, and you could probably save yourself a lot of time by just speaking to them. And yeah, I got no intention, by the way, if you're also wondering, I've got absolutely no intention of trying to get into anything that's secured at Porton Down, because that's probably a question you have. Right? I do not want to go inside secure places, as in properly secured, proper fences, locked places, none of that. Right? I don't want to breach those levels of security. Everything that you will see me do in the video so far, and some of the videos that are going to be coming up, is stuff that anyone could do. Okay? Anyone could do, because you could either drive in or walk in to all the places that I'm going to show. Okay, and if you get like a little bit you know, because you see me walking very close to some of these places, well, that's your fault. Because I can. If you make it very easy for people to be able to do this, then people might do it. So my suggestion to you would be, look at that, not decide to take it out on me. So there we go. Yeah, they love the t-shirt. There we are. Disobey authority, disobey. Yeah, I mean, I've got a healthy disrespect for, you know, authority, because I know they lie. And this is the whole thing about Porton Down. I mean, they are master liars, and they've been getting away with shit for so long. And you know, they got signs up all around the place like, you cannot be here, blah blah, this law, that law, blah 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 blah. Red flags flying 24/7, 365. Yeah. So of course I know that those red flags don't mean very much, because they're always flying, they're never not flying. Yeah, and a red flag is supposed to let you know when something is active, but it doesn't have any live firing. And the red flags are supposed to be for live firing. Yeah, but there's never a time when the place is stood down. So I've learned from experience to know that when you have places which are never ever stood down, even though there's absolutely nothing going on in them, then you have to kind of go, yeah, I think we're being lied to here. That red flag should not be flying because there's nothing going on. And similarly, when you have things saying no drone flying, and I know it's perfectly legal to fly a drone, then I know, they lied to us about that. So they try to stop you going places with threats of things that aren't correct, yeah, quoting legal powers they don't strictly have. The police officer at Porton Down saw me taking photos, pulled up. He said, "You can't take photos. I'm a police officer." And I said, "Well, I have. I've taken photos." So, he's telling me I can't, but I'm telling him I have. So what's his response to that? He's like, "Well, you shouldn't be here. The signs say you can't." And I looked at the sign, and the sign just said, no trespassing. It didn't say anything about photos. So, yeah, maybe there are some parts. I did drive past some signs in the base that said no photos, no photos. And yet, if you go on YouTube, type in Porton Down, there are times when those very same buildings have been photographed by TV stations. The footage on the BBC, it's on Sky, but from the outside, maybe not going into as much detail as I have. And you will always see that when Sky, the BBC, whoever, are allowed into Porton Down, they always, always, always make a big thing of having a lot of guys with guns walking around in the back of shop, looking hard, yeah? They always do that. So maybe they wouldn't have a problem with me doing what I've done, as long as they have, like, armed guards everywhere looking, like doing the old Dalek routine, but what they don't want to portray is what I am portraying, is that you can actually get really close, probably in a way they're not comfortable with. Yeah. That's probably what they're not going to like, is the fact that I'm showing you can actually get really close to these areas. They've always, the government, they always play this game of putting up speed camera signs when there are no speed cameras, just to make you think there are. It's all about scare tactics. What they attempt to do with Porton Down, then, it's quite obvious now, is not have so many security, not have so many checkpoints, and allow you to get really close to the base, because they're probably trying to save money. And they think that having cameras and, little cameras and ANPR things, that's good enough. Well, we'll see. We'll see if they're comfortable with what I've done here, because they've made the decision to allow it for me to be able to get as close as I have. So now they're going to have to decide if the decisions that they've made to allow somebody like me to get that close, they're comfortable with. And I don't think they are going to be comfortable with it, to be honest, because hence why the BBC and Sky always have to have these guards in there, showing the guns as a threat. And I could just drive in and around there and I don't see no guards and no guns, and I don't see any of that. Yeah? So there's a slight disconnect, isn't there, between what they try to portray in the mass media and what you actually find you get when you go there. And therein lies the problem. Therein lies the problem, you see, because they're trying to pretend that it is hyper secure, and maybe it is, because I'm not going to try and climb over any fences and encounter that level of security. It would be insane, but it still seems like somebody could just drive very close to one of those buildings, far too close, and cause major mayhem if they wanted to, in my humble opinion. And I'm going to take you on a walk, which anyone can do, which is, I'll show you now, just down the side of that railway track. Let's have a little look, right? Because you can basically walk in any of these areas, right? And it's nothing to do with the air. Ignore the red zones now, right? You can come to this village here, go down the lane, come all the way down here, And this is a pathway that you can walk your dog on all the way in that direction, as far as the eye can see, and all the way down here. This is a path, and you can see it there. I wonder if I can get the. Wonder if I can get rid of the. No, I can't get rid of it. But anyway, that's a pathway there, and people walk their dogs all the way down here, all the way down here, come right up past that part of the base, okay, and they can walk all the way up here, and literally, you could throw a tennis ball at the side of that building from one side of the rail tracks to the other. You could literally throw a tennis ball across the rail tracks and hit the side of the building. Yeah, that's how close you can get to the most dangerous chemical weapons, experimental station. That's how close you can get. Close enough to throw a tennis ball. Yeah, pretty crazy, isn't it? Pretty crazy. And you can just keep walking all the way down here until you come into the village, this little village. And as far as I know, you could probably keep on walking. The path might even carry on even further. So just giving you that kind of. Oh shit! They said they can't. Thank you. They said they can't see the map. Right. Well, in that case, then, rather than showing you that map, I'll get you Google Maps up. Sorry, folks. I am the spash. I'm the spaz. Right. Here we go. Then let's get rid of this. Right. Amesbury. MOD Boscombe Down. Let's put it in satellite mode. You got it now? Yeah, you're seeing it now. Right, okay. So, here we go. Porton Down. Very sorry about that. Sorry, folks. It must have been driving you mad then for a minute. Right there, look, I put safe to fly drone. You see, I put a mark on it. Safe to fly my drone from here. Okay, so if you come down from the village, there's nothing to stop you driving down this road all the way down here. I parked up here because there's a nice little bit that you can pull in, and it's very thin, this lane, and I just didn't like the look of parking down here because it's a bit secluded, and I thought, get your bloody car broken into there if you're not careful. So but yeah, you walk this direction, and you keep on going, I ignore this road which curves around. I think that the track keeps going through the trees. It just keeps going. And, the dog walkers use that. But if you come this way, look, just comes down, keeps going. And, of course, you're right next to this, then, which is this secret compound. Look where they've got the tanks. Look at all the dumped tanks and things like that. And then there's the... Oh, look, the helicopter's not there in this one. So that helicopter's been and gone. So the helicopter was there in my shots, but it's not there in Google Maps. So, yeah, that helicopter was a recent thing in and out of there then. So, yeah, if you keep walking down here, you keep walking. Yeah, you'll end up on the back car park of Porton Down. There's even a bridge here to get you onto the Porton Down side, so get you across to where you really shouldn't be, right next to the fence line. Okay, but the pathway is down here. Okay, so you're going to continue on the pathway, but look how the distance there is nothing. I'll tell you what the actual distance is. Look, right, measure distance from there to there, 30 meters. Yeah, maybe you could throw a tennis ball. If you're a good pitcher, you might be able to throw. But it's very close, isn't it? It's very, very close. Okay, so and if you cross the bridge there, you'd be walking down that side. Although it is a bit rough, so it's very rough banking and edge there. But this side, yeah, you can keep walking all the way down till you come into is it Porton? Idmiston, this is, I think. Idmiston, and then if you keep walking down, you eventually come into Porton. So there we go. So that's yeah. Or you could walk all the way from Porton up. So that's it. And basically, when you're walking on that pathway, you'll when I drove the car, you come through this. You come through this. This is the no. That's not right. Sorry, what am I about? When you there's a tunnel here, Winterslow Tunnel. Yeah, so that was the where you drive along. There's normal traffic lights, not the ones where you come out of the back of the base that you saw, not that unusual traffic lights, normal traffic lights, and you go through this bridge, and it brings you up this way. There's nothing to stop you walking or driving your car, and you can walk all the way across here, all the way across the Salisbury Plain. As long as you don't leave the road, technically you'll be okay. But they want to kind of stop you coming onto the plain, either north or south. They want to stop you coming north or south. That's what they don't want you doing. But yeah, we'll try and take you as close as we can in some of the future videos. So watch this space, because it's going to get very interesting. Because I definitely push the limits of what you can or maybe can't do with this stuff, and it was quite amazing and quite surprising and shocking what I was able to do. So yeah, and all I'm going to say is there ain't no fences around most of this area. There are not many fences at all. About the only fences that they've got is in this area along the road to stop you going. But once you get up here, right around this area, there's no fences. So basically, the access to all parts of the Salisbury Plain where they would have done testing, like these places, like this circular thing, it's just walk straight in. You just walk straight in. It's crazy. So I mean, the only places that they have the fence lines are once you get close to Porton itself. But the actual countryside, where they do a lot of the testing and have done in the past, all of that is just walk straight in off the road, and or off the paths. So it's pretty crazy. Anyway, wonder what the rectangle crop marks are for. I don't know where now you mean. Like that's right next to the bomb dumps or whatever they are. I don't know what that is, but it looks like it's being farmed, because it's got the farmer marks in it, so it's probably a small crop field. It might be a GM crop field, because look, they were growing something in this bit, but then not in that bit. They probably experiment with GM crops as well. And yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? It's just a little shed in the middle of a forest. I might have caught this on the footage. Don't know what these are all about. Don't know what that is. Could be where they've been messing around with vehicles, moving around, doing exercises there where they fire stuff off. Seems quite active there, doesn't it? It's quite active next to this little base. And I think this is that the one that's got the no, this, not sure about this one. That may not have any fence around it, but this one, as you saw from tonight, that has a double security perimeter fence, so that is quite secure in there, whatever it is. And it's got its own little sort of like protected bunker area thing. Looks like there's some concrete walls around this bit. It's really hard to say what these things are, but that's a double perimeter fence. But everything leading up to it is just wide open, wide open trackways and things like that. So yeah. And what this thing is here, again, very hard to know what these things are. And because they're so secretive, Porton Down, what I've tried to do here in just zooming in from public land and seeing what you can see, I think is pretty much the only time, apart from the only time it's been seen, apart from when a couple of protesters have gone in there with and only managed to get so far, like get a couple of 100 meters in there before they get arrested. And protesters have tried to walk across Porton Down, and they've not got very far, and they've just been manhandled and chucked in the backs of army lorries and taken off the site, told not to come back. So I don't think anybody's really, from members of the public, have really kind of had a look, and very little is known about what goes on apart from what we're told. And what we do know is they've experimented on the public without our knowledge. They've gone into cities and spread germs around the place. They've gone through London spraying germs. They've sprayed germs with people hanging around in the underground subways, with the trains, London Underground. They've sprayed germs in the London Underground without telling people. They have, they've done lots of things. They've experimented on members of the public by telling them that they were looking for a cure for the common cold, and when they get in there, nerve gas. They've gassed these people, and they've done this to military personnel. They've done it to the public. These guys are outrageous. I mean, how they've got away with this, how there are not people from Porton Down in jail, how they are not in jail for what they've done, because it breaks human rights laws, it breaks the Nuremberg Code, it probably breaks the Geneva Convention, it breaks all sorts of international laws about humane treatment of people in a medical testing environment sense, right? These guys are just like, well, we won't tell them, and we'll see what happens. And then it'll be a real experiment then, because nobody's going to know they've been affected by these germs. And we'll just contact the doctors in these areas where we've sprayed all these chemicals, and we'll just see whether we get any sporadic little, infections and people coming in, and we'll secretly pull all their medical records out, and we'll know what's going wrong with these people, even though these people don't actually know themselves, because we dose them up with a load of nerve agents or germs and various things, right? But we know why they're being ill, but they don't, nor does their doctor. But we do, because we're looking at their medical records. This is fucking bullshit, folks. It's absolute fucking bullshit. And the wankers that think it's okay to do that are all from down here. That's where the wankers that think this is perfectly okay, that's where they hang out, folks, right? And that's why I think it's about bloody time that people got to see a little bit more than just the front doors of these bloody buildings and just a few corridors and a few little medical cabinets with rubber gloves going in. It's like, yeah, we know you're doing, that we know you do that. That's it. But we don't know how big the place is. We can't see the extents of it, and we can't really ask any real questions. It's just like, take our word for it, folks. We don't do that stuff anymore. We're all good now. Okay. Right? And it's like, no, the catalogue of nightmarish, ghoulish shit that these people have done for such a long time tells me we shouldn't necessarily trust them. And as far as I'm concerned, a few photos showing you what it looks like up close and personal is just too bad. Yeah, it's just too bad. Yeah. So there we are. I mean, Russia knows exactly what this place is about. So, people have said, like, oh, you're making this very easy for foreign governments and idiots. And they know about this place. They know all about this place. I mean, a lot of governments are sharing information with their research facilities, with Porton Down. And as I said in my previous video, they were even sharing information with South Africa, trying to find out whether they could make race-specific viruses that would kill just people of a specific race. I don't think they were successful, but they were trying. They were trying. Oh, yes. Now, I mean, and think to yourself now, RNA virus technology, RNA virus stuff that they were developing, which has now been used for COVID. What would happen if you used RNA virus stuff that knew which type of race you came from and killed you. Yeah? Because that's very close to the type of technology that we're talking about with race-specific viruses. RNA, things that will attach to DNA. Yeah? Think about it. So anyway, there we are. Kerno, hello. Kerno's popped in. So Eddie G says they cleaned up that park that have the nerve agent. They identified the explosives used in Manchester bombing. Project MK Ultra, UK, USA, Australia, Canada, China. They've all done it. Yeah, they're all thick as thieves. And the trouble is, right, these scientists are up their own arses. They literally, like, they've got like a hose pipe connected from their arse, and they're sniffing their own butt fumes because they don't have to answer to hardly anybody, right? And they can just say, oh, super top secret, sorry, just nobody's allowed to know what we're doing. And they can convince those in power, who are often sociopaths. A lot of people in power can be sociopathic, and they can be convinced that, no, this is really important research. We need to do this. It's incredibly important that we do this research that tests stuff on the public without the public's knowledge, right? Now, if they've managed to do that and convince people in power, politicians, right, oversight committees, if they've managed to do this in the past to convince them that it's okay to experiment on the public without their knowledge, if they've done it in the past, they could do it again. Oh, hello, Antonio Capone just subscribed. Has anybody actually donated tonight? I haven't got my... I don't know. Has anybody actually donated? Because if they did, I haven't got my headphones on, so I wouldn't have heard it. If anybody did, thank you. I don't know if they did, though. So, anyway. I'm not seeing anything. Maybe I should put my banner up telling people. Anyway, there we go. Right, this is my normal banner. So, that's it, folks. That's all I got to say on that, I think, unless you've got some more. They turned protesters into human pigs. Yeah, exactly. They did that at Greenham Common. They were experimenting on the women protesters to try and get them to disperse. So they were trying sound weapons, microwave weapons, aerosolizing stuff, and they were like doing all sorts of shit. And they just thought it was like, yeah, well, they're only fucking protesters, aren't they? Little fucking protesters. Fuck them. We'll try and see whether we can do things that'll make them disappear, And it's like, so, yeah. Yeah. And Novichok, yeah, that not very effective nerve agent, Novichok. Yeah. They said the whole town was poisoned. Well, it wasn't really. I mean, it was just like, there were small traces of this around that, were in a couple of places. But, I mean, only people that actually came into contact with it in a large way were affected. And the actual target of it, the people who should be dead, obviously didn't have enough of it to make a difference. And the silly idiots who went and picked it up and then sprayed it on themselves thinking it was fucking perfume, they were the ones that died. So the actual intended target, who got a spray of it, yeah, or touched a glass or whatever it was that they were touching, yeah, they didn't get enough of it. So it wasn't a very effective nerve agent, was it? It was bullshit, And it was innocent people that ended up dying, not the bloody, not the Russian target that they were trying to take out. Do you know if I look through my phone camera, you can see hidden cameras? It shows up as purple light. Yeah, that's infrared light. Yeah. Well, some of the most expensive type of military cameras will either be night vision, which doesn't need infrared light, so it'll be starlight, so they don't actually project infrared at all, or thermal imaging. They use that a lot now. Very high resolution thermal imaging cameras. And yeah, Dizzy says they still fuck up animals in there. Oh yes, they do a lot of experiments on animals, and the public are not necessarily allowed to know what's going on because it's all so secret that they're not allowed to know. But what we do know is they routinely kill animals by, say, getting a pig or a sheep, putting it in a box, throwing a grenade in. Boom. And the purpose of that is to tell whether grenades still kill and how much. And it's like, well, it's a grenade. It's the same grenade as we've always used. But it's like they have to do these experiments. So they know that grenade is going to kill the sheep. They know it's going to have a certain explosive power. But they have to keep on doing it. Like every 6 months or 12 months, we need another sheep. Yep. Bomb. Yep, it's still killing them the same way. Because this is the sort of, the types of experiments they do. They shoot things with bullets, and then they go, yep, it's the same type of bullet hole. It's the same size coming out the other side. Yeah, it died. Yep. Bullets still are bullets. And they do those sorts of experiments too. So, they probably get CS gas. And they see whether or not, is it still this amount of nerve gas to kill a person? What's the limit? Yeah, it's still exactly the same limit. Yep, we still agree with the last 10 years of research we've done. It's still the same limit. Yep. And they do that sort of research there. It's totally unnecessary bollocks. And they manage to, sort of convince themselves that it's very, very important that they do that type of research. So, yeah. Let's have a look what people are saying. Crazy stuff, Matt. Do you think they spray stuff to give you bacterial pneumonia? I got it 4 years ago. Well, don't know. You might have caught pneumonia, but they might have been testing something somewhere. They might have been spraying something. It's hard to know, isn't it? And I mean, the thing is as well, right? It's all well and good for these people to say, we are scientists. I'm a doctor. I'm a professor. Or I've got a degree so I can work in this lab. Like a degree. Like a fucking, any monkey can get a frigging degree and ends up working in a lab with the most dangerous pathogens in the world. Yeah. And we're just taking it on, like, hoping and praying that we don't find some sort of suicidal nutter who's working in those labs who manages to get some of this shit out of the lab. Because, okay, they're vetted to make sure that they've got no terrorist backgrounds. They vet them to make sure they've got no criminal backgrounds, that they don't have any friends who are affiliated down the line to terrorists or weirdos, or they do all these checks, but it still doesn't necessarily... Oh, Roots, thank you very much. Grab a beverage. I might do, actually, in a minute. I might go and get a can of beer, because it's probably going to be time to get to bed at some point, but and I need to do you-know-what very quickly. But my point is that just because you've got degrees and you're trained doesn't necessarily mean you have common sense. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're a very nice person or that you're mentally stable. Yeah? Okay, because having a degree on paper doesn't mean you're necessarily a good person, does it? Yeah? You can have all the paperwork and you can be a psychopath. And you can have all the paperwork and you could be a sociopath. And you could have all the paperwork and you could have a breakdown and decide to do something really stupid and suicidal and get some of that material out of the labs. And what would happen then? Bit like the old 12 Monkeys, the movie there. And all life on planet Earth ends because of the types of crazy over-the-top research they're doing into super viruses. Stuff that's never even existed. Stuff that would make Ebola look like a joke. They play with this stuff because they want to know more, because they need to know more, and they want to know more. But do they really know what they're doing, these people? And I will give you one example. If you want to watch a video that's on my channel, right, it kind of dovetails into this quite nicely. It sort of dovetails together. There's a place called Westwood, okay? And it's a quarry. And Porton Down had a facility in Westwood Quarry. So they They set up camp in Westwood Quarry, and above it, on the landscape, on the surface, was a village, Westwood Village, and the quarry is directly underneath it. Okay, and there are holes coming up from the quarry as air breathers, all the way up from underground from this quarry up. And Porton Down were doing experiments underground with pathogens, with anthrax, with this, with that, with all sorts of stuff underground. And do you know what? They mixed in the air conditioning system for the secret part with the part that was being used for storage. They didn't even think that they needed to have a secure air conditioning system that would stop the germs and the shit getting into the other part of the quarry. And guess what? If it gets into the other part of the quarry, it goes up those air shafts and to the surface and out to the village and the people who live in the village. Or maybe it was intended that way, because maybe this is another one of their little experiments. Why don't we do secret experiments? We won't tell anybody. We'll use plausible deniability of saying, oh, we just didn't realise that we had to have a separated air conditioning system. Oh, how silly of us. Oh, how silly of us. Let's find out what happens to these people on the surface. Let's find out what happens. Plausible deniability. Do you think these scientists are that stupid? Because if they are that stupid, they're also the types of scientists that very likely are getting inducted and work at Porton Down today. Because they clearly did back then. So if they were inducting people who were stupid enough to mix an air conditioning system for a viral lab with the rest of the quarry which goes to the surface, if they couldn't get that right, how can we be sure we're trusting them to get it right now? Yeah? Because these people are like, just because they got a word doctor behind their name and professor and this and that, we know. We know that nuclear power stations fail because of bad design. We know that things go wrong in places like Chernobyl because people pull out the fuses and the whole thing goes up, We know that humans make mistakes. Yeah? So Porton Down is a mistake that is waiting and ready to happen. And it nearly happened once because one guy who was a doctor there infected himself and came out. So he was infected. He actually, I believe, knew he was infected but didn't say anything and came out. And then he started to feel ill, so then he admitted, oh, I'm feeling ill now. And they were like, shit, he's done exactly what he's not supposed to do. He's been infected by something and he's left the fucking base. Yeah? And they brought him back in, they monitored him, and luckily he was okay. And luckily there was no spread of something like COVID-19 or Ebola or whatever they were working on. Luckily. It's happened once already. It may have happened a lot of times we don't know about and haven't been told about. That was the one time we were told about. But here's the thing. If these people are so up their own arses that they think it's okay to experiment on the public, if they're not necessarily employing people who've got great common sense, they've just got a load of credentials on paper, but are like bloody Rain Man when it comes to common sense, then are they going to make mistakes that are actually going to end up screwing up humanity or infecting that area of the countryside if something goes wrong and having to basically quarantine the whole area? I mean, imagine a scenario. Imagine a scenario like that movie, Outbreak. Yeah? The outbreak was, they needed to contain it. And they knew it was such a bad outbreak. What was the option they used to sterilize it? Nuclear weapons. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. To absolutely destroy and sterilize the area. Now that might be something they have to do one day because they have no other option. If something gets out of that lab or those labs that we don't know about, these little experiments, these Frankenstein experiments that they're like, hey, I'm going to invent the most dangerous virus and I'm going to mix it with the other most dangerous viruses. We've got 50,000 viruses mixed together that can live in space and can withstand radiation. We've created the master virus. Yeah? And then it manages to escape. What are they going to do to stop it getting out and blowing in the wind and doing stuff? They'll nuke downwind. They'll nuke the source and they'll nuke everything downwind to stop it, won't they? So anything that's in the line of where the wind's blowing that day, nuke, 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 nuke. And you think they won't do that? Because to save millions, they'll be quite happy to sacrifice a few 100,000 to save millions. Yeah? So, yeah. Basically, this is why I think a little bit of oversight, a little bit of public oversight is not a bad thing into places like this. And the more you kind of show them how stupid their security is and how close you can get and how they're not obviously really on it, the more you can show them that, maybe that slap in the face will wake them up a bit, you know? Yeah. One DFA J83K92 says you've been watching too many films. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess Chernobyl never happened then. I guess I guess Fukushima was just a figment of everyone's imagination. I guess 3 Mile Island never happened. Sellafield, Windscale, all these places never happened. You know, that's radiological stuff. You know, yeah. I guess all we need now, Wuhan. We've had one nice little pandemic outbreak. Although I wouldn't call it a pandemic, to be honest. Um, we were told it's a pandemic. It's more of an epidemic than a pandemic. But we were told like how many people would die. Remember how many people would die? Scientists told us how many people would die. Remember, it was going to be in the hundreds of millions. It was going to be it was going to be like bodies everywhere, dead. They couldn't even get that right, could they? They couldn't even get that right. They couldn't even get the numbers of no. So it turns out, oh no, that was a worst case scenario projection. No, you told us that all these people were going to die, and then it didn't happen. So these people that say they know what they're talking about often don't. Okay? And they're the ones who are working in these labs pretending like, don't speak to me, I am untouchable. We know what we're doing. This is a secure lab and it cannot be, nothing can get out of here because I am so clever. Nothing can get past my intelligence because I'm so clever. And I know I'm so clever because I'm called a professor because I passed some exams. But actually, I will employ somebody from a foreign country who's probably a bloody spy, or somebody who's got mental health problems, and they could easily get something out of the lab if they wanted to. Yeah. So ultimately, we are all just hoping nothing goes wrong with these places. Yeah. So there we are. Right. I'm going to quickly pop off to the where, and I'm going to go and get a can of something, and I shall be back up in a second. I haven't got music sorted out, so I shall just I don't know what I'll do. What shall I do? I don't know, just put it on this for a minute. I will get some music sorted out eventually. I'm going to get an intermission screen, so I'll be back in a sec. Right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Ooh, nature calls. Right, so they should have an open day so we can all see what's going on. Yeah, that's it. Well, a lot of people say like if you're in university and you want to go and work at Porton Down for a bit, to kind of learn what they do, they let you in there. You know, they let you in there. You can do a little bit of thing, and they'll kind of like size you up and do they seem like they could be the sort of person who could work here? And secretly, you don't realize that they're actually vetting you behind the scenes. They don't tell you this, but they'll be secretly vetting you. And then if you're the right sort of material that they want, you'll be offered a job. Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those. It's like bloody. It's like trying to go to work for the intelligence service. It's like, says who you know, not what you know. So yeah, right. Send out the. Just drink the. Hmm. Scientists were experimenting on Trump to see how parathay they could make him, and it worked. I think he was trying to say pathetic, and well, hey, look at fucking Biden. Look what you got after. You think Trump was bad? At least Trump could string a fucking sentence together. Biden is like he's like fucking Alzheimer's an Alzheimer's person. He's like, oh, I don't. Are you my wife? Hello, hello. Did I don't know you. Why are you in my house? You're not my wife. It's like, he's on that fucking level. Jesus Christ. And there you go. If they let a fucking knob like that be a president, right? If they let wankers like that be president, yeah, you could be pretty fucking well assured that there are wankers working in fucking Porton Down. Yeah? Absolute fucking bellends probably working in there. And that's how shit like these experiments that have been done on the public, right, managed to take place. There we are. Dr. David Kelly, says Virjang Smith. Yeah, right. He worked at Porton Down, probably knew too much. Apparently, David Kelly was one of the ones that knew something about the South African involvement with trying to do the race-specific virus. He knew about that. That was one of the things he knew about. But what did he know about that he wasn't meant to speak about? Maybe there was something that they were doing at Porton Down on the very, very, top, ultra, ultra, ultra top secret level that maybe only a handful of people knew, like several people in Porton Down. And maybe they thought it was so important that they wouldn't even tell their bosses because it was so important. They're on a fucking spurgy mission. We're not going to tell anybody because they'll stop us doing it. We're going to do this in secret because it's too important. And the public, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. What if some people knew too much? And that's why David Kelly was off you go. So, there we are. Somebody said they're all nonsense. I don't think it's maybe they're trying to develop weapons of nonce technology that will, when you spray them on the countryside, everyone will turn into paedophiles. Maybe that's what they're trying to develop, so that everyone will be their quarry, Oh, I don't know what, but I mean, they might be trying to develop. I mean, it's a scenario. I mean, they've experimented with LSD on troops. They might be trying to experiment with things that will change people's ways of thinking. A drug that could be sprayed, aerosolized. A virus which might make people, very docile. A virus which gets in and affects them, maybe temporarily, maybe permanently. So you're getting people like protesting. You just spray them all with this stuff. Oh, I'm not going to protest anymore. Can you imagine? If they could develop that sort of stuff? Do you think they would be able to resist trying to experiment with real humans with it? Yeah, with or without the knowledge? Do you think they would be able to resist that? And do you think they'd be able to resist not using it? So was AIDS from Porton Down? Well, yeah, It's funny, isn't it? Because with AIDS, what do they all say? Oh, it was monkeys. It was monkeys. No, what was it with COVID? Oh, it was bats. It was bats. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, like, did you know that they were infecting people with was it hepatitis or syphilis? Purposefully infecting people in the gay community in America. I think it was with hepatitis. They knew they were infecting them with this, and the scientific authorities were doing it because they wanted to see how it would kind of, how it would get out there. And then some people said, well, that happened around the time that AIDS came along, and it's like, doesn't take a great leap of, we know, they know for certain about the, I can't remember this hepatitis, they were doing something, and then at the same sort of time AIDS came along. And it's like, yeah, so maybe a number of things. Did you know, for example, this is another one, right? Have you heard of myxomatosis? Has anybody heard of myxomatosis? It was an invented, made at Porton Down disease. They made this and they put it out into the countryside to attack rabbits, to reduce their population numbers. They invented a disease and they put it out there into nature. And now rabbits bleed from the eyes because of myxomatosis when they get this disease. That was invented at Porton Down. There you go. Yeah? Mm. And it was invented and weaponized, if you like. It was amplified, gain of function, increased, expanded, and then pushed back out into the rabbit population. Yeah. And that's spread across the world now. That's all over the world. That disease, and that came from Porton Down. So, just like COVID, isn't it? Thank you very much. Thank you very much for culling the rabbits. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for inventing COVID. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you for the new virus that makes us stupid. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for what next? Thank you very much for sterilizing us so we can't have babies. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for killing all the Asians with the race virus, Thank you very much. These people need to be fucking watched. Closely watched at Porton Down. Yeah. What happens if you eat infected rabbits? Well, yeah. Yeah, you hopefully wouldn't want to because it would be looking a bit unhealthy. But yeah, Jacob's Ladder, one of the best movies. Oh, Jacob's Ladder. Absolutely fucking ace. Absolutely amazing. Right, let's get you this invite code. Here we go. Do. See if anyone wants to come in. It's 3:40 in the morning. How long have I been on? I have no idea. It was 2. I came on at 2:15 and it's 3:40, so I've been on 1.5 hours. Right, okay. Yeah, makes the rabbits blind. It's horrible. Myxomatosis is nasty. It's really nasty. Yeah. And I mean, what happens? What would have happened if myxomatosis had crossed species like they say happened with this bat virus? What if the myxomatosis had crossed species from rabbits to humans? What then? Yeah? See, this is the trouble with messing with this shit. They don't know where it's going to lead. They assume they do. But they don't really know. Yeah? They just go ahead with it anyway. Full steam ahead. Right, here we go. Here's the code. Anybody want to come in? It would be nice if you had something to talk about on topic with this subject. If you have something to talk about with this, you have to have a webcam. We don't do the sort of anonymous chatty with the microphone, right? Link's not gone in. Oh, sorry, they took the. Yeah, sorry, forget that. Right. First found in Uruguay in the 1800s in rabbits. All right. Mm. Was it Calisci virus? Is another one they let loose on rabbits here in Australia. Yeah. 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 Jimothy says it's all ego, Matt. Yeah. Yeah. They these scientists are like they are. They are just like, I know what I'm doing. I know exactly what I'm doing. Oh, here we are. Look, fucking hell. Well, we got some. We got a product of fucking Porton down here. Look, one that fucking escaped.
Uh, uh,
Yeah,
uh,
the one they couldn't catch, the one that got out of the fucking test tube. Look, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
man.
this is what happens when myxomatosis gets into the human body. Yeah.
Mate, they said they were only going to insert the tip, mate, but they went full
Oh,
shaft, mate. Do you
yeah.
know what I mean? It's like, fuck me. They went
Port,
balls deep on that shit, mate.
yeah, Porton Down said
But
that they were using a condom, but it felt really sticky when they withdrew. Yeah.
that's it, mate. And the
Yeah.
and paper bag broke, yeah?
I heard the twang.
And that was just my banjo.
Yeah,
Fucking
man.
hell.
You've been quite of interested in this series, then. You
Mm,
said earlier on, eye
I
opening, innit?
am. I tell you what, mate, you don't see this stuff, right? You hear about like Chernobyl, how the reactor exploded and, the aftermath and how it all begun and stuff like that, right? But this kind of shit, mate, is like, this is fucking like rare bear shit, mate.
Mm.
This is stuff that is sort of like, you know, I remember in a place called Huntington, right? Which is sort of like east side of Northampton, right? It's about 20 minutes away from RAF Etwood, right? Now there was chemistry labs there, right? Now they were massive, mate. They were humongous, yeah. I think it was probably one of the biggest chemistry labs I'd ever been in, right? Now on the board there was every single fucking drug written down, yeah. What animal, how many milligrams, what drug they'd given him, and what the outcome was. I was like, fuck. Do you know what I mean? So it's sort of like I'd done that a few years back, but it's a very similar thing again. Do you know what I mean? It's like they'd moved all the smaller ones all down to one area and just flooded it like and just built them like obviously I think you said there was 7 layers, didn't you, below ground?
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? So if you think how many square mile that they're taking up, how many square mile are they down?
Well, that's it. And people do
Do you know what I mean?
say,
Because we don't know, do we? Because, like you said in your video, you don't know how many levels are there down, and you don't know how far across they're going.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? So, and then you were saying about all the new bunkers and stuff, and it's just like it blew my mind. I watched it and I was just like, fucking hell! I was like, this has hurt my head like a little bit. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
it was like it was definitely crazy. But I think by far it's probably one of the best videos that you've actually done without going in
yes.
to an explore.
Well, this
By
is it.
far.
I mean, you can't go in. I mean, but I know some
Well,
people who
what?
have gone in. I know
But
some people who
you
have gone
can't
in.
tell me, right, that I
Yeah.
cannot go in. Don't tell me that.
Well, Taffy, you can. You're more than welcome, mate. You're more than
That's
welcome
it,
to
mate.
give it a go
Can you
because it will
imagine?
be. You'll get very famous, and you will get very, very arrested and very, very jailed for some period of time. But you will get
Just
out.
another
You will get out.
eventually at some point
Yeah.
in another lifetime.
Well, the thing is, right? I can tell you that I can tell you this story because he's. I can tell you the story because the guy's dead now. Okay.
Oh yeah.
He died of a stroke, which we believe was just natural, sort of thing. But this guy, right, was an animal rights guy, and he, to be perfectly honest, did a load of things that I would never do, even though, I'm like anti vivisection. Like I wish they wouldn't use animals in these labs, and if they're gonna use them, be nice to them. Just give them a nice environment, not a
It's just
fucking.
inhumane, isn't it?
You know, my
Awful.
thing is like if you're gonna eat meat, treat the cows well. Let them eat grass. Let them out in the fields. Give them the
That's
best
it.
chance in life they can. Yeah, and make it quick. You know, don't transport them long distances across countryside. I'm not anti-meat. You know, if you want to eat it, but the same thing with these labs. These scientists are so these scientists are so
Yeah, man.
fucking inhumane, right, that they believe that like torturing these animals and putting them in these most sterile cages and not giving them any toys or any stimulus or anything like that, they
No,
don't give it. That's
nothing.
that. No, why would we want to do that? It's just animals and shit like this, yeah. And it's like they don't
It's
they
cruel, isn't
treat
it?
the public like that, you know. It seems to sort of be they look down at the public. Well, I'm a big doctor and everyone else is just stupid, so we can use them like animals because, and that's the sort of that's an infectious sort of thinking then, you know.
The thing
And
is, when they got it in their heads as well, it's that way or no way, innit?
mm,
And it can be quite dangerous, mate, because look at oh, what's his bloody name now that ended up in a wheelchair that doesn't talk? Fucking what's his name now? It's fucking nearly 4 o'clock in the morning. I haven't
what you mean,
slept.
the physicist Hawking?
What's his name? Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
right. Look at him, mate. The brainiest of brainiest people that you know that are still alive, mate. And look at him.
He's not alive
Can't
though. He died.
talk. No, but yeah, he's not long ago, wasn't it? It was
Mm,
only recent, like, well, in the recent years, should I say? Do you know what I mean? So,
mm.
you know, the brainy people, mate, you know, and it's just unreal, you know, and the stuff that they can do it is crazy, but they're very stubborn, you know, and it's like they have to do it one way, and if someone says, "But I can show you an easier way," they don't
Mm.
like it, and they
Yeah.
don't. It's like, you know, it's like they're just programmed, and it's just crazy, mate.
Well, yeah, they're very driven and very focused, but
Oh yeah.
they sometimes they don't have great people skills or yeah. Anyway, tell us a story about the guy. Yeah, they're right. I was going to always come back round to it, but thanks for reminding me because I often get sidetracked. Right, this guy, animal rights activist. He's done a load of things I would not do, right? But ultimately, you know, what he did made a difference. You know, it made a big difference because, I mean, he stopped the Grand National by running onto
Oh
the.
yeah.
He could have got killed because the horses are, you know, coming down the track, and he
Oh
ran
shit.
out, and it just threw everything, and they had to cancel it that year. It was cancelled. That was it. Grand National cancelled because of this guy, right?
It's mad, isn't it?
He told me about people he knew that might have blown up some labs with
Oh yeah.
explosives. With explosives. Now I don't know whether he's telling me the truth, but he told me about that, and I know he knows some of the top people because I met some of the, like, you know, some of the people I met, you know, around his house and stuff were the most highly known animal rights activists in the country, and they were all like best mates. Now, you know, and it's like, so some of the things these people do, you know, to get their point across is kind of bordering on terrorism, you know, because they're blowing up labs, hoping they won't injure somebody who's in the lab, and hoping they do it at night or something like that, and they do this sort of thing. I just hope they never get into somewhere like Porton Down, but he did. He told me he got into Porton Down. I just hope that these people never get in somewhere like that and do something dangerous. But the thing is, I think you've got to
Well,
realise as well,
if
it's
it
not.
does, mate, it's gonna go bang, innit?
Yeah,
It's really gonna go bang.
yeah, and the thing is, are these people uh, uh, as much of a concern as the people working in the labs? Because some of these people might be mentally ill who are working in the labs. You know,
Oh,
I
it's
mean, like,
not good, man.
Are they screened for mental health? I mean, you know, you have all these people like in the government recently. You know, they were telling everybody to stay at home and, you know, lockdown and all that, and they were all off shagging women. You know, and they were working in politics, and they were setting the rules to tell everyone not to do things, and they were doing it themselves. So you've got people in these places, right? Can you trust them? And they go, oh yes, yes. Don't talk to us about who we can trust. We are the ones who will decide that.
You
Just get
can't
away.
trust anyone.
Secret, secret, and it's all slapped secrecy, so you can't find out what's going on, right? Well, here's the little thing, right? There was a in 1962 a guy called Jeffrey Bacon, right, died from an
Jeffrey
accident.
Bagel.
Yeah, for Jeffrey Bacon. Yeah, He died.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He died from an accidental infection of the plague bacterium when he was working on it, and
No
he
way.
died. He died of it. You know.
Mate,
And
we're all going to be walking around in bloody hazmat suits soon, mate.
mm. So there was an explosion, and he was infected because the autoclave exploded, and yeah, basically, he got the plague from it. Now, what's to say that there couldn't be an accident at a place like that, right? Or what's to
Wow.
say that
Mate,
somebody couldn't just rock up with a load of explosives in a van? As close as I walked and well, not walked, drove around the other day, as close as I drove down there, somebody rocks up with a fucking van full of explosives, boom.
you could probably get a 7.5 ton wagon down there, mate.
Yeah.
Do you know
And
what I mean? You imagine, right, something that kind of size, yeah, right, maybe a class 2 full of explosives going to somewhere like that, mate, yeah? Mate, that is going to be one big mushroom, mate.
oh, mate, I mean, it could be
That's going to
it
be
could be the end.
horrendous,
It could
mate.
be the end of life in southwest England. It could be the end of life in the UK. It could be the end of Western Europe. It could
There's
be
too
the
many
end of life.
crazy people out there, mate.
It could be the end
And
of
there
life on
is.
the planet. You know.
But do you know, right? Look, you look, right, at a few of the people that we no longer wish to talk about, that we
Mm,
are having problems with, and that you're in court with, and etc. etc.
yeah.
If they're not as bad as some of the people that we talk about. Do you know what I mean? That we are talking about. But can you imagine if one of those idiots went there and did that? Do you know
I
what I
mean,
mean? They're
people.
messed up, mate, but they're on another level of messed up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then the people that are absolute, like complete psychopaths, mate,
Yeah.
that just don't give a crap. Do you know what I mean? Can you imagine what sort of level of like craziness that is? That'll make me look like a saint. Do you know what I mean? That's crazy. Do you know what I mean? It's unreal, and it's like, you just don't think when you were saying that, oh yeah, it's like this big on a map. And I thought, yeah, maybe.
Mm,
When I zoomed in, mate, on my Google Maps, mate, I was like, whoa,
it's huge.
mate, that is humongous, mate.
Yeah.
There's big, and then there's that place, yeah.
Yeah.
That's like ridiculous, like, so, it's crazy.
And I mean, accidents can happen, but also there could be suicidal people with a streak, like. And then this is the thing that, right? Are you all like strapped in for some information here that you might find a little bit hard to absorb? But I'm just going to tell you, if you think I'm bullshitting you, go and do some research, right? Porton Down, some of it is owned by the military, and some of it is privately owned. Privately owned. Oh, but that's okay because they must know. They must really know and take a lot of care with who owns this stuff. Half of Porton Down is owned by Libya.
Is it really?
A
Oh,
Libyan banker with I think he's got medical and banking ties owned half of Porton Down. So,
mate,
it is the
he's
real
got the cash,
risk.
mate, to fund it.
Yeah,
Do you know
and
what I mean? He has got that much money, mate. He's just going,
yeah, and the
feed it.
thing is,
I want it making and I want it doing now. Do you
am
know what I mean?
I
And that's what it is.
am I a risk for what I've just done? Would an animal rights person trying to expose what's going on in there with the abuses to animals, are they the real biggest risk? Or how about somebody who's a foreign national where their national religion is maybe not in line with things that we would normally sort of, like, maybe like, you know, Muslim type religions and things like that, Libya, owning the most dangerous chemical weapons facility in the world. Yeah,
It's, mate, it's mind blowing. And it's
it's
like,
it's madness.
mate, I can't talk about it. I can talk a little bit, but it's that much like my head is wrecked from it. Do you know what I mean? Because I watched it and I thought,
Mm.
no, surely not. And I thought, oh, maybe. Do you know what I mean? So obviously, I've had a little look, but some of the stuff that like, because obviously I had to like look at that sign Joe, that had all the things on it, what was there and what wasn't. And I thought, what the hell does all that mean? Do you know what I mean? So obviously, I looked at probably 3 or 4, and I was like, whoa. And that's when I sent you that voice message saying about the other urbexer who works in the pharmaceutical stuff. And I thought, if someone's going to know about it, it's going to be him. Do you know what I mean? He'll have a lot more info than what me and you would because he works in it. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, mate, that is crazy stuff. Like, you know, and it's just, mate, we've drove past it I don't know how many times.
Yeah,
And we didn't.
Britain's apparently got 600 CL3 level labs. There's like 4 levels of, you know, like, and the 4th level is like
How
Ebola
many?
and like 600 labs that deal with things that are potentially, you know, like could infect a lot of people.
I
And they,
wonder, right,
yeah,
if there's anyone, you know, anywhere near me.
oh, probably.
Because if there's 600, mate,
Mm.
that's like, well, I think I've put 30 pins on my map there now because I've like started, you know, putting bits on a map, right? And that is literally taken over like North Wales,
Yeah.
right? So you can imagine 600, mate, that's crazy. That's like every like
Mm.
50 to 100 miles.
Yeah. Do you know that if you're in a university and you're like working on something like, oh, my doctorate is going to be on Ebola or something like that, or my doctorate's going to be on the new super virus or whatever, yeah, right? You can ring up Porton down or write to them and you go, I'm working in this place. We need to get some samples of Ebola, like the really nasty ones, like not the normal ones, the really nasty ones. Could you send some over? Be like, ooh, we've got to make sure who are you? Say, yeah, does this guy work for you? Yeah. All right, then we'll send him over now. Then put him in the post. Send it over. Send it over. They'll send things to governments all over the world. Porton down do. They send it to all different countries and governments, and they all share information together because nobody's going to misuse any of this shit.
No,
Because
absolutely.
they're all working for the same higher goal. They've got pure medicine and the health of humanity is at their hearts. It's like they're not going to fucking take that shit and run with it, are they? Or it's going to
No, they would never do that, mate.
no,
Never.
no.
Do you know what I mean? Never, mate, in a million years. Do you know what I mean?
Did you
Mate,
know that they were
as soon
meant
as
to be
your back's
sent?
turned, it's
Yeah,
done. Do you know what I mean? It's like, fuck.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're mental.
There's been instances where they're meant to send out vials of safe deactivated viruses. So they sent out a load of them, and they accidentally put the live viruses in there. So they actually sent out the real virus when they were meant to send out the deactivated virus to like low security places so they could test on it. And when they got them, they went, "This is the fucking live virus you sent us." And they were like, "Oh no, you're kidding! We sent you the live virus? What, to a children's school or something like that? You know, like, oh, we sent you live virus? Oh, how stupid of us! That's happened. That's
What?
fucking happened." Yeah, people got no idea that when there's human beings involved, right? Mistakes are not only fucking going to happen; they're going to be made to fucking happen. You know what I mean? Mistakes will
Well,
be made to happen.
one day, right? Like we always hit up something like top end, yeah, always, yeah. No
Mm.
matter where it is, right? We're sitting on footage, yeah, that we can't even bring out at the minute, right? So, you know, and I know it's top end stuff, right? And I know for a fact, right? You're gonna say to me, yeah, Taff, I've got this government X building here, yeah, and I'm gonna go, yeah, yeah, sound, come on then, we'll go, yeah. Before we know it, mate, the first ground level, mate, is going to be like just deactivated.
Mm.
And I tell you now, we're going to find one door, we're going to go through it, mate, and it's just going to be like a massive fuck off warehouse, mate. And it's just going to have every single thing that you could ever imagine in it. And you
There'll
know
be
for a fact it's going to
vats with
happen.
aliens in
Yeah,
there.
mate, this is it, mate. There's going to be like a dodgy looking kid, mate, sitting on a fucking slab, like, do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? With like a big fat Jewish headlight, do you know what I mean? And it's like fucking crazy shit, mate.
Big fat Jewish head. Right, I'm not responsible for that comment. YouTube, sorry,
Neither am I,
I
mate.
cannot be
Neither am I.
responsible for
So
the guests. I cannot be
Mate,
responsible.
I'm not responsible for myself either. I blame the borderline personality disorder that I've got, like, do you know what I mean? So it's nothing to do with me, mate. I just, I'm just as shocked as you fuckers, like. So
Oh,
yeah,
right. So basically, then, what else was there? Right. So yeah, it's owned by some dodgy fuckers. There could be dodgy fuckers working there, and we're not allowed to know what goes on. And they've abused things so many times in the past. Can we fucking trust them? I just say I think
no, absolutely not,
people need to be asking a lot more questions about these sorts of places and whether they
mate. You got to
should
be
be.
open-minded, mate.
Yeah.
You have to be,
Yeah.
right? Because like obviously I knew about the smaller bits, but you've opened that big can of worms, mate, and it's opened my eyes, mate, big time. Like, and like I said, mate, I have looked a little bit into it, but not like nowhere near as much as what I know you have. Do you know what I mean? And it's like it's obviously something triggered you to go looking. Do you know what I mean? And before you've known it, mate, you've like I said, mate, you've opened a big ass can of worms on that, mate.
Yeah.
And I think you've done really well, mate, with part 1, 2, and the magical mystery of number 3, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Don't worry, security on the base. I haven't done anything stupid, nor would I. But
No,
you ain't gonna like seeing how close I've got to some of your shit. But I didn't go in through any naughty fences or anything. But you ain't gonna like seeing it. And it's just a
no, but
wake up call. It's just a fucking wake up call, isn't it? It's like
it's
Jesus Christ.
crazy,
Yeah.
and it's like when you were showing me those motion sensors and stuff, yeah, and how many cameras are and every so many feet, and I was like, wow, they literally do not want you in there. Because as soon as you trigger one of them off me, it's going to be coach loads of security coming towards you. Do you know what I mean? Or
You say that.
MOD, police, or whatever it is.
Yeah, you
Do you
say
know what I
that,
mean?
but I mean, like, they didn't pick me up. I've been there on a number of occasions, not just once. I've been there a number of times, yeah? And I went in my car and I went in somebody else's car. Never saw anything, you know. I even like was taking photos, which looks sus, doesn't it? And it still never
Oh,
got
yeah.
pulled. Still never got pulled. It's just like you shouldn't be doing that. All right, mate. Sorry about that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you'd think I'd be pulled down the road, wouldn't you? Nope, nope. It's like
You would have thought about 3, 4 mile down the road, you thought,
yeah.
you
I
just be
just started to
boxed in or
wonder.
something like it.
It was a lot more secure years ago. Pull up outside that thing, just took a photo, boom, from MOD police vehicle, like wanted to know me name, address, details, the works, mate.
Oh,
Recently,
yeah.
go in there. It's almost as if it's become like an open,
An
just
open
coming in,
party.
just come in,
Yeah.
like just coming
Free
in.
for all, like. But Matt, what you got to ask yourself, right, is probably in the 90s when you went, or the early 2000s, right, when you went, right, originally,
Mm.
yeah, to now, have they, right, and it's only a question, have they moved it all out of there now?
Some people have said that they said, "Oh, it's probably not there anymore." But and
And
again,
that's why they're not half as heavy, mate. Do you know what I mean?
maybe,
So, do you know
maybe,
what I mean? Because
but
that's what they did in America, didn't they, with Area 51, didn't they? They
yeah, yeah.
moved it, didn't they? So, because someone got in there, didn't they,
Mm.
apparently? Do you know what I mean?
When is
So,
part three? As soon as I bother to edit it, I mean, at the end of the day, right? I mean, if they came in and took my hard drives,
I've
which
seen
all
bits,
right,
so I can't say
I have
anything.
it securely stored, so they're not going to get me to stop this release of this stuff, right? Okay, so you can come and take the hard drives if you want and go and scour through them, do whatever you need to do, but it ain't going to stop it because it's all ready, I've got it, it's securely stored, you know. So it's like, yeah, basically, as soon as I can, really, But it just means when I do stuff like this, I've got to kind of like prepare for what the outcomes could be. It's like, well, if I get arrested, like what's going to be the outcomes? So I have to kind of like prepare my when I'm going to release it as to whether have I got a few days free, because if in case I get
Yeah.
arrested,
Is
I
it
got to
days
think
or
like this.
hours, mate?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? And it,
I
yeah.
got to think like this, because it's like
Oh,
there's
yeah.
always a concern that could happen. So prepared for things, but it's like it's just when I
course.
feel. Sometimes I feel like, oh, I can't do it. I can't do it today because I just don't feel like a day in the cells today. And they'd be like, all right, I feel like, oh yeah, I feel quite happy now. Like, right, let's do it, And it's like, and then I've got to batten down the hatches and wait, and just hope and see if they come, and maybe they will, maybe they won't, and then they don't, and it's like,
Well,
okay, it's
this
like,
is it.
but yeah, I don't know. All I'm going to say is it happened when it happens, and I
I'm
never like
waiting.
to.
Yeah.
I never like to put an actual time on things because that's when I get stressed because I'm not putting something out on time for a reason, and
Oh yeah.
I don't like to give an exact time of when I'm going to put things out because people hold you to it and then it's like
Well, this
stress.
is why I asked you, didn't I?
Yeah.
Because you sent me bits of part three, and I
Mm.
said, "Yeah, but when's part two out?" And you were like, "At some
Mhm.
point today." And I was like,
Mm.
"Okay, well, I'm not watching that then because I want to see what part two is first." Do you know what I mean? So I've held on to it, and
Yeah.
that's it then. Do you know what I mean? So I'm do you know what I mean? I'm quite lucky that I get to see some of these bits, do you know what I mean, before
Yeah.
others, but I still sit there and I still do watch, do you know what I mean? And it's like, I'll watch it. I think, like I said to you earlier on, I'm literally all caught up now with all your stuff.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm really lucky, do you know what I mean, that that I have watched it and, but it's just crazy. It's just like, do you know when you just literally just can't sort of like get your head around it in the slightest? It's like it's thrown me off, mate. It's big time thrown me off.
Yeah, I mean I was
I've done some mad stuff like in my time, but mate, you didn't even go on site, and that I think that is the bit I can't get my head around. Right, that the fact that you never went on site, through the two fences, right? You never went into a building. You drove round the site, but you never actually went into the buildings. And that I think that is the bit I cannot get my head around. That your video was that good, and you never went in, and it's like it's just mate, it's thrown me off, mate, big time. Throw me
yeah.
off, and I
I
mean
mean
massively, like,
they
and I
probably
can't.
they're probably
Do you know what I mean?
scratching their heads when they'll watch it as to
Yeah.
what can we do him for. That's what they'll be saying. What can we do him for? What can we? And they'll
Yeah, but you can't because
and
it's all everything was open. Gates were open. Gatehouses were all open, and
I'm
everywhere you went through was all open.
I'm
So
guessing everything I've
no
done
one
so
approached
far.
you.
Yeah, I'm guessing everything I've done so far.
All
Even
legal, mate. All
though
above
even
board.
though they say what I've done might be illegal on their signs and da 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 da, right? It's not. It's bollocks. It's bullshit. Because I know bullshit. I know how they bullshit these places. They make a lot of threats and they throw up a lot of signs and it's
Oh
bullshit.
yeah,
And it's like the only way we're going to find out is by testing it. And unfortunately, I'm going to be the guinea pig that's going to be testing
that's right, mate. We'll
whether or
get you
not,
in this lab, mate. We can get a little pen with a
you
little
know,
camera on it, mate. Do you know what I mean? We'll find out, mate. We will find out what's going on.
yeah,
Um, we might not find out ever in our lifetime or my daughter's lifetime. Do you know what I mean? But eventually, in many moons to come, something is going to happen, and someone dead ballsy is going to get a job there just to find out what is going on, and they are literally going to like leak it out like there's no tomorrow. Do you know what I mean?
mm, mm,
So it's it, mate, the whole thing there is just like I said, mate, it's thrown me, mate, big time, and it's not very often you hear me that's saying that I'm speechless, like so.
yeah,
It's very interesting, mate. Very, very interesting.
yeah. Eddie G says, well,
It is.
guaranteed if you rock up to the new main gate in security area, they will have a heavy handed reaction. Well, the thing is, right, I mean,
They could. They might. They might surprise you, mate.
you know,
Do you know what I mean?
the gate, I drove past it tonight, believe it or not. Not because I was in, I had to drive past there because where we were, right, was about 4 miles down the road from Porton Down. Now,
Oh,
funnily enough, Google Maps wouldn't send me across Porton Down, even though it was the shortest route, and I knew it was the shortest route because I know that area quite well, right? But
that's it.
I said Google Maps, and he was going to send me all the way down to Salisbury and then back out, which is a huge distance. to go.
Yeah, it's probably about 14 mile, isn't it?
Yeah.
15 mile.
And all I had to do was, I was at Boscombe, and I'm like, well, surely the Porton's the best way. Why is it not suggesting it to me? And I sort of like, fuck this, I'm going the short
Is
route.
it?
And
Yeah,
I
but is
did.
that because it's classed as a private road?
Well, it's actually open to the public. There's gates there, and it's open to the
That's
public,
what
and
I'm
people
saying.
drive across it.
But is
But
it classed as a public road or a private road? Because on
technically, it's a
Google
military
Maps, if
road.
it's yeah, right. So that's why it's sending you the other way around, because it's not for public use, even though public use it.
Yes.
It's weird. It is,
Funny.
and that's
So
the
I
bit.
saved time going
That's
across
why
there
that
tonight.
is why. Yeah,
And I
and
tell
that's
you
why
what,
it sent you that way around instead of straight through.
yeah, you can't see lights on the base per se. They probably are there, but they're dim. But those lights around that bomb dump area, wow, there's a lot of lights around there. And the other thing is that like you can just drive in from the road, And I just said, look,
Yeah.
I'm just driving in from the road. They closed those gates. So I drove past them. I could see they were closed. Now, it might be because it's night time and they open them in the day. Remember where that little tiny little stupid shack?
Oh,
With
yeah.
that tiny little shack where the guy was
That
probably in there
little wood
drinking
thing.
coffee.
Yeah.
A wooden bloody stupid
Yeah.
shack. Like, I mean, it was... There's,
Just in the distance, when it on the right, when it was like a bit weird.
yeah,
It
so...
made the whole thing just doesn't make sense, though, does it? It just
it looked
literally
amateur.
doesn't make sense.
It looked amateur.
It's just
Yeah.
yeah. It was like it's like when you were on the drone footage, and you were shot. Excuse me, where the helicopter and that was. But that helicopter looked new. It didn't look like it had been there for years upon years. It looked like it had just been dumped there, in say the last 12 months. Do you know what I mean?
And it's not on Google Maps. It's not on Google Maps. No, yeah, weird.
Right. So, and those shipping containers, they looked quite new as well. So it was like they just made up this whole compound. Do you know what I mean? And they've just like a dumping ground. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not an actual compound. And what was it? A water tower.
There's a water tower of some description there. Yeah.
Right. So, but that looks old. That looks like it's been there. Do you know what I mean? So they've kind of just went, oh, let's just make it all look like it was supposed to be there, but not. Do you know what I mean? And it's crazy, mate. It really is actually crazy. It just, yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's thrown me off, mate, big time. It has thrown me off, and it's I'm probably gonna have to go back and watch the first one again, mate. Do you know what I mean? Just to sort of like try and get my head around it a little bit.
I mean, I always remember I went to the air traffic control place down at Swanwick, and the reason I went there is because they invited people who were pilots. If they wanted to go, they could sign up and they could come and have a look at what the air traffic control centre looks like. And I said, okay, fair enough. And I went down there with a load of people and just drove in, parked in the car park, went out. I said, oh, I'm down to come and see the air traffic control centre. They're like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. Coming in then. And it's like, oh, right, just wait now. And there's like loads of people waiting in the foyer, and it's like, and they let us in, and then we went in and we had a look at the there were the air traffic controllers for the whole of the United Kingdom. They're in that room. Right, like they are like Heathrow, Gatwick, Bristol, Birmingham, Manchester. The controllers for those airports are in one room, sitting next to each other for the whole of the United Kingdom. And I just said to the guy, right? I mean, he said, "Has anybody got any questions?" And I was like, I thought I'm not going to be very fucking popular for asking this one, but I just said, look, you didn't really frisk us when we came in here for any types of weapons or anything like that.
Could be anybody.
Just because we're pilots, or you think we're those pilots, and I could be somebody else. Did you check our faces to our names? I mean, like, I'm just saying, because like, I think I got in here too easy,
It just feels like I've just gone. Whoop, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And just walked in.
And he said we've got security things in place you wouldn't know about, but we can't discuss. And I thought, well, they better be fucking better. And I thought to myself, they better be fucking on this, because I fucking this is bullshit. You know what I mean? And it doesn't give you great confidence then.
Fire guard there, like, do you know what I mean? It's like, Jesus Christ.
Doesn't give you great confidence that, like, when you're flying in an aircraft and they're like all these air traffic controllers, and like, what if something goes out? What if something gets knocked out? Or, what if Like at the airports, you keep on hearing about these breaches of people getting through security and like don't even work for, and they just like make up name badges and walk in and shit like this, you know. And it's like, it's this shit shouldn't happen. And like it's journalists and people who are writing stories and publicizing it, bit like what I'm doing, you know. But like I'm a
On
amateur
a smaller
journalist,
level.
yeah,
Yeah, that's it.
amateur
Yeah.
journalist rather than like working for a newspaper or something. But it's kind of like you think, Jesus, it's crazy what you can get away with out there, and the risks to these things that they don't seem to care about, you know, or they just like, oh, it's not going to happen, like, you know, or they think that their security is like great, you know, but is it,
Well, it's weird because
you know?
do you remember when I did the castle? Yeah.
Mm, yeah,
That was a massive breach, mate. And you
yeah.
know what? Even now, to this day, right? Literally, tomorrow will be a month, mate. When I was in there, yeah, tomorrow, yeah, right. And I've heard nothing, mate. Which, for a massive breach that I've just done, yeah, and well, in theory, I put celebrities at risk.
Well, they weren't in there, were they? I mean,
No, no,
and
but that's what I'm saying. In theory, I put them at risk. Yeah,
yeah,
where
yeah,
I
yeah.
could have been somebody. Do you know what I mean? And all I got was I got held for I think 3.5 hours, right? That I was held for, right? And it was just right. Don't do it again. Right, off you go.
Was it? Did you get taken away by the police then?
No, we were held in an office,
By the security?
and the police. There was two police officers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of us going to St. Asaph police station, which is like the biggest like local police station where you would get taken, basically we got we got pulled from the main hall from the castle. Then we got put in the van. We got taken down to a secure compound. Then there was 5 security and 2 police officers, right? So then basically then we went into Joe like the cabins, Joe like the big cabins. We went into one of them, and basically they were asking us, can we delete the footage? It would go in our interest. It would, it would be this, and this. If ITV wants to prosecute in the future, they will. And I was like thinking, oh my god, I thought, and then they were saying to us basically like last year I got a warning for being in there. Do you know what I mean? And flying my drone over. And I was just like, oh no, they are gonna throw the book at me. I was thinking in my head, yeah. I thought any second now,
You were
I'm gonna go to the
gagging
police
to be
station.
you were gagging to be
My
fucked over
my
like Ali
bum
Law
was
was. Yeah.
it was going quick, mate. My bum, like, do you know what I mean? And when they said, "Yep, you're free to go," and I just looked at Aid and I was just like, "Mate, just walk quickly, like, just get the hell out of here before they decide." Yeah? And literally, as we were walking back to the van, mate, I was just like, "I can't believe they've just let us go." Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's like we should have been down the road. We should have been in the police station, and it was just like, and even now, I'm still like, going, "Oh dear, they're gonna knock on my door. They're gonna," do you know what I mean? And it's like, and I'm just not hearing anything now. So it's
Mm.
yeah, it is a bit crazy, mate. It really is. But it's similar thing again. Do you know what I mean? It's still a massive breach. Do you know what I mean? And it's if so, like you said, if someone went in there, mate, into that place, it's
Yeah. Well,
that's going to be serious. Is that classed as terrorism?
what, going
Or
near there like that?
yeah, well, no, I mean, like if you actually went through the fences,
Well,
do
that's
you know
the
what I mean,
thing,
and
see, because I
actually
mean,
tried to
my
go.
my
I don't
mate,
know.
my mate. This is we didn't get back to the story, right? My mate said he went in there, right, and he went underground, and he said it was like, did he say something like 3 or 4 levels underground? And he said he got into places, and it was like freezers, and he could have opened them, and sort of like like rooms that were like freezers, and he could have opened them, and it was like warnings and shit like that in it. And I was like, really, you got that far in, and nobody knew you were in there? And I was like, in a weird way, I bet some they would, maybe the time he did it, maybe it was just like not such good cameras, and maybe he caught the time when people were having a coffee break and they weren't looking at the screens or chatting about bollocks or falling asleep at the desk or something. But he reckoned he got in there, and I was like,
That's
that's
mental, mate.
mental. That's absolutely
It's
mental.
mental.
And
That's
yeah.
on
Anyway,
another level.
I'm gonna get another one of these, and I'll be back in a
All right,
minute
mate.
because I got to use the loo as well. So I'll see you in a sec.
No worries. I shall have a look, see what everyone's been saying. Ali Law. Oh yeah, John. I remember when Ali Law did the Big Brother one. Yeah, he got everything. He got all his channel and that demonetized and stuff. Didn't he? Didn't make any money off it anymore. Okay, what's happening? Abandoned and Forgotten Wales. Hey, what's happening, Gareth? Hope you're good, mate. Let's see who else we've got on here. Obviously, it's quite hard to catch up. Nate Webb, what's happening? Yeah, it's. Sorry, guys, I've got two screens and like it wouldn't load up. I don't know why. It just wouldn't. It's just a nightmare. Oh, excuse me. Ali Law. Oh, mate, can you imagine, Dizzy, if Ali Law went into Porton? Oh, mate. Taffy, you're on file now, damn. Oh, mate, I've been on file for a long time, mate, so yeah, don't worry about that. Jesus Christ, it's just another freaking notch on the old bedpost, mate. Someone just said then, Taffy, you'll be on file now. Mate, I've been on that file for a long time, mate, so...
No. The thing is, they might decide to do something, but because they know who I am and they know that ultimately,
mate,
it doesn't work in their favor on one level because it's not going to stop me doing what I do. I just won't be going back down there to do it because of if they cause a major shitstorm. But will it stop other people? Well, no, because they'll try and do it without getting caught, and they'll try and do it anonymously and shit like that. But the thing is, it's like all it does is it shows that there are loopholes, there are ways in, and I hope they just don't fucking end up going, right, we'll make an example of him, and it's like, well, yeah, but all you really do is you project it more into the stratosphere, and more people will watch the video, and more people will get to know about it. So I'm not doing any of this, by the way, to become like a martyr, and so it'll get loads of views and subscribers. I'm not. I've been doing this stuff for donkey's years.
Well, that's it.
It's like
Believe it or not, mate, I've just come into my 10th year, mate, this year. I've been doing Urbex for. But do you know what? It's only been 4 years since I've had a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And the only reason I actually started a YouTube channel is that because of my mental health took a very bad turn for the worse, I wanted to basically put videos up so when my daughter was older, she had something to watch. Do you know what I mean? Joe, to see what I was like. So that is the only reason I actually started YouTube up. Which it's a bit crazy, isn't it?
Well, no, so, I think it's a good thing, really. I mean, I wish I'd filmed more and done it more professionally years ago, because I used to film snippets here and there, and sort of like,
yeah.
They don't make full videos now, They're interesting, but I would have to go back, film, and then show like something that's
before,
coming
during, and after.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably find footage of me going to Porton Down years ago in my stuff if I looked hard enough. I'd probably find it, but it's not going to be as good as this stuff now. But there's something
but
coming.
sometimes that you find that like this is why that I like to go back to certain places. Do you know what I mean? Because you can sort of like look at do you remember I said she didn't I said, oh, I've done the F1 room years ago, but I never actually videoed it. I only went there to get pictures. So when we went there to do it, it was really good because like I was like, oh my god, mate, this is smashed up to high heaven now. Do you know what I mean? It was like, you just remember, Joe, like certain corridors and like I remember like staircases and stuff like that, and it's just nuts, mate. It really was that place, but You know, that's just one little thing. Do you know what I mean? So,
Mm.
does anyone else want to come on? Mr. Volter's asking.
Well, I'm just thinking, like, before we wrap it up, because I suppose it's been on a while, but just things in, like at the end of it all. Uh, I mean, I jokingly said in the video, and if they wanted to give us a tour, I would accept it. But it's kind of
Oh,
like
definitely.
I would accept it just for a look, but I don't think they'd be showing you anything, super sensitive. They'd be showing you the same shit they showed the Queen when she was there. They'd be going like, "Here we are, there's a lab. Look, we do this stuff. We can't tell you everything, but yeah." But it's like I don't really think I need to see that because I know they're not going to show me anything. You know what I mean? They're going to show me what I know would be there. And they're not going to show it. They're not going to show
You're
me
not going to show
underground.
me.
They're not going to
No,
show
don't
me
be daft.
underground, and they're not going to show you the massive extents. They're gonna play it down, and they're gonna go, look at the great work we do, and the magic work we do, and it's all magic, and we're all nice people, and yeah, and all that. It's like, yeah, I know there's probably a lot of nice people there, and it only takes one psycho in a group, and it only took one pilot to go suicidal and crash in Germany and just crash a whole plane because he was suicidal. So he took the whole aircraft down, didn't he? It's like it
Yeah.
only takes one. So the thing is, it's like, I mean, I'd be kind of interested to see, even though I kind of know what's down there. It's like with Corsham. I'd like to see underground.
Of
I'd
course,
like
mate.
to, but I kind of know what's down there. I kind of know what to expect. It's not going to be a lot
The thing
different.
is, it's like I think it's more of a peace of mind, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Of going down there and actually seeing what you think is down there, isn't it? Joe, just to
Yeah.
sort of go,
See if
well,
you
I
see if
know
you
my
were
mind.
fairly correct.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, and it's like, but are you right or are you not? Are you? Who knows? Do you know what I mean? Until you actually go down there, you're
Hmm.
not gonna actually know. So it's sort of like, you just sort of just want to get down there and just do it anyway, don't you? And it's just done then, isn't it?
Well, Dizzy makes a point. Do you think the Queen wouldn't be allowed to see? It's true because I mean, like the Queen,
Hmm.
and I believe the Queen Mother and Prince Philip went to that place in High Wycombe that was used for
Oh
the
yeah,
it was the American underground bunker, and they used to program the cruise missile launch discs and then send them out to put in the cruise missiles to go nuke war, and it's like so.
but
And
they are.
she went in underground there, so they probably do get invited in these super super secret places, but they don't go showing her the codes. You know what I mean? They don't go showing her the nuclear codes or how to operate the equipment. They just go like, this is where we work, and here's some people, and shake hands and all that. But she does probably get to see the
And then she's
facility.
like, ah, yeah.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? After she
yeah,
shakes and like,
yeah.
yeah.
But the thing is, they could be doing all sorts of secret stuff, but she would never know because
But
it's
the
not
thing, like,
it's not for her to
it's
know. She
funny, isn't it?
probably doesn't need to know, you know.
No, it's funny because like out of say 100 rooms, they probably show 85 rooms, but in those 15 rooms, there's some top end shit that's going down in them. Do you know what I mean? And it's like you know, it's absolute nuts. Like what could you ever imagine? Right, plus more again.
Hmm.
What is going down in one of them rooms? Never mind in 15 of the rooms. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, there's a
It's
conspiracy theory that's gone around that an alien crash, the bodies went to Porton down. You know.
and that's what I was laughing at
Mm,
before. I said
mm.
it was an alien abduction site, and it,
Mhm.
like, and that's why I was joking around, like, because I did actually read it, right, which is yeah, which is was it? It was like, was it the 70s, 60s, something like that? I don't know. I don't know. It was a while ago, like well before I was a twinkle in my dad's eye, like.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? So
But I
yeah,
mean, I
man.
I like everybody else. I'm fascinated by these places, but a lot of people are like,
Oh,
"Ooh, I
cool.
wouldn't go near that." Ooh, But I kind of like to know what's going on in some of these places if you can. You try to get as much info as you can. I mean, there's obviously we're so far away from what is going on and knowing what's going on. I mean, black projects and black operations and things like that, and things that never come out. And they'll kill people to keep the secrets. Like there's such dodgy shit going on that if they think there's any potential of it leaking, they'll just kill all the people. And this happened with scientists in the UK and the
Oh yeah.
US. More so in the US, they're much more ready to kill their scientists if they think there's a leak. And it's just kind of like it's a dangerous little world. I mean, all these little scientists who are like, oh yeah, I'm working on this thing, and they think it's really cool, and they don't realize they're only like a short like distance away from a bullet in the back of the head. If any like, oh, what's going on? There's somebody leaking stuff. They take them all and boom, 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 boom. They'll all have accidents. They'll all have committed suicide, and
Oh yeah.
you know, and all this type of
Accidents
thing. So
happen down dark alleys, don't they?
these people who work in these people work in these places, they don't even kind of realize this sometimes. I think they're kind of living in this kind of like brain fog of like, I am a super scientist and I am at the forefront and I am doing great work. It's like, you're at so much at the forefront, we're gonna fucking bump you off if you fucking do anything slightly weird, or if we just don't know, we'll bump you off because we can replace you
Oh
with
yeah.
somebody else. You know what I mean? We
Oh
can
yeah.
replace
You're
you.
just a number.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
And it's like
Anywhere large like that, it's you are just a number, mate, and it's like, oh, number 5,000,010. And it's like, yeah, great, thanks, right, you can fuck off.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's yeah,
So it's just food
a
for thought.
crazy place.
Get a visit by the Men in Black. Well, the Men in Black used to come out of Rudloe Manor. That's where they were based. One of the places
Yeah.
they used to go out and visit witnesses and tell them to shut up
Isn't
about their
there,
UFO experiences.
Isn't there tunnels underneath Redlow Manor?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, massive.
I
But when you say
yeah.
Rudloe Manor, do you mean the Corsham site, or do you mean actually under the manor?
No, actually, underneath the manor.
Not that we know, because there's been a
Because there was talk about it.
there's been a real fuck up with the kind of the way documentaries have twisted the information. Because I mean, I've told them, I said, look, Corsham Site 2 across the road, there's 25 miles of underground tunnels, and they say, as far as we're aware, under the manor itself there isn't, but there are old quarry tunnels in and around there, but we don't think they've been developed into like the super military tunnels across the road. And the thing that screws people up is because they don't understand the facility and where things are. When you say Corsham and Rudloe Manor, they think you mean the whole thing. But there's lots of little sites all over the place, and they're all very different, and they don't necessarily connect. Right? So, of course, what's happened is the Chinese whisper misinformation is that people think Rudloe Manor, because it's in Corsham and it's connected with these sites, like they're all part of a massive site, but all in different parts of the, they're all part of a big, thing. They think that because that site over there's got loads of tunnels, that they're underneath Rudloe as well. So there was a documentary that actually did graphics. They did graphics for it, and they were like, they showed the manor, and then they like projected down and showed graphics of what the tunnels look like underneath it. It's fucking bullshit. There ain't no tunnels like that underneath there, as far as I'm aware, because they got the information from me for a lot of this stuff, and then they fucking twisted it around on the show, like, they just go off with his graphics and shit, and he's like, what?
That's it, mate. You ever want to know something, go to the horse himself. But jeez, and they still twisted it.
Yeah, Will Smith will turn up at my house,
Me, one can only hope.
Yeah. I met him, yeah, for the Men in Black. Met him on the Big Breakfast when he was promoting the movie. Yeah, that's pretty mad. I have a photograph of me standing there with him, and fucking somebody fucking, I think, liberated my fucking photo, so I don't have a photo of me with Will Smith anymore. Yeah, and the person who took the photo is dead, so not easy for me to go through his. So not easy for me to go through his negatives and get another copy. Yeah.
Mate, that's not a coincidence, is it?
It's a bit of a shame. But the thing is, there is a copy of me on the same television programme as Will Smith, but at the end, I ran up to him and had my photo taken before anybody else, because it was like a pylon. I knew what it was at the end of the show. I've been to that been to that place before, and I know what happens is a pylon. So I positioned myself slowly and carefully because I knew the way the pylon was going to go, and I was at the front of the pylon. It's like, oh, Will, can I have a photo? Yeah, sure. It was like, yeah, great. And then they went, come on, Will, come on, we've got to go. And I was like one of the only people who managed to get a photo with it because I fucking knew the way he was going to go.
Legend.
Yeah.
That's it. It's like, oh mate, the whole. But I last. Do you remember last time I met up with you down your way? And I said to you, I said like, oh, you're like proper lucky, because it's the amount of history that's in your area.
Mm.
It is absolutely amazing. Like, it's not like North Wales. I mean, what happens in North Wales? Not a lot. Do you know what I mean? Where like you go down to Wiltshire. Wiltshire's like one of the most famous places for everything happening. Do you know what I mean? It's like like you go to Warwickshire, where where William Shakespeare and all that. Do you know what I mean? You can go on and on. Do you know what I mean? There's like certain areas. There's like so much history, and it's just crazy. Like I was never into my history when I was in school, right? But that's why I become a historian. I'm not an urbexer, mate. I'm a historian, so fuck you. It's true though.
Somebody's saying, is there anybody who's done the stuff in the caution mines? There is not a lot of point really, because if they see you on that camera coming down that alleyway, I mean, they know you've gone through that thing, and then they're going to be on their way down there, military police, and they're going to open that thing, and if you're on the other side of it, you could get arrested and pulled in and taken through the tunnels, which maybe that's what you want. I mean, it's one way to get to see. It's one way to see on the other side, which I already have. I've seen on the other side. So but I didn't get arrested, luckily.
I was gonna say, when they do it though, are they gonna bag you so you can't see?
Nah, I know people it's happened to. If you,
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting that anyone do anything criminal, but there are many stories of people over the years, and they've been written into books, of people who've gone up to that red door and been kicking and smashing it and trying things with hammers and all sorts of stuff. Even people who've gone up there and tapped on the round on it, and it's opened, and somebody's gone like, "Oh, you fucking get out of here, or we're going to arrest you," right? But it's like, it's always been threats. It's always been threats, and those that have got taken in and taken up in the lift have been taken to the edge of the base and told to fuck off. So if you did want to do that, it would be your own. It would be up to you entirely. I don't know of anybody. This is the point, though. I don't know of anybody that's been prosecuted. Because they don't want the bad publicity, right? So
yeah,
you deal with that. Crazy. You deal with that as you wish, but don't blame me for the consequences. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh yeah, Secret Vault sent me, mate.
Yeah,
she said that everything will be all right. Yeah,
it is a working base. There's a reason they've put cameras up underground again. It's because they've got all this like new bloody GCHQ cyber warfare unit where they've got hackers, and it's a new GCHQ, but like for hackers and stuff like that. There apparently, and they've got all those computers. Yeah, they got all those computers in that data center there, and that is a public data center. No, it's not. It's fucking military. Fuck off.
Is it? I was gonna fucking say, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a public data center, but it's got an MOD guard on. Like... It's got an MOD guards on it, but it's just public. Yeah, right. It's for the public.
It's not public, mate. It'll be someone like me and you, yeah, in a small little room, mate, with a fucking absolute top end computer, mate, that knows exactly what they're fucking doing, mate. Do you know what I mean? There's no way, mate, they would put it. If it was a member of public, mate, they wouldn't have it so heavily guarded, mate. Do you know what I mean? You look at the guard huts. Do you know what I mean? So, some of them have got firearms on them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? They're not fucking around, mate. If that's a member of public or a public area, right? They would not have either military on there or police officers firearms. Yeah? They wouldn't have that on there. They just wouldn't have it. So clearly, it's not for public eye, is it? So therefore, it's not a public area. So they're just full of shit, mate.
Dizzy says, why haven't they caved in the tunnels leading up to the Red Door to stop people walking up? Very good question. My guess is because it is an emergency escape route.
Is it?
Of sorts. It used to be, but I mean, bloody hell, it's such a labyrinth in there that anyone who would actually think they're going to escape through there and find a way out, nah. But some of those areas, those tunnels around there are ways in for air as well, So I don't know whether or not. I mean, they could completely seal it off if they wanted to. But I mean, once you start like doing explosives and things like that, it's like, do you destabilize
It's
other parts of the
horrendous, isn't
mine?
it?
Yeah, you might end up destabilizing some part of it that might be somebody else's house starts coming down that lives on top of it in a cottage somewhere. So I think I think the kind of philosophy is leave well alone. Secure
Oh
it,
yeah,
put cameras on it,
might
but leave
cause
well
more
alone.
damage than
Yeah,
yeah.
But
Because
the best person to ask this would be a guest that I would like to get on the show, and I've been saying it for ages, but I should really get my arse into gear. Is Nick McCamley? He's the author of a number of very good books about Corsham and underground bunkers, and he is the one of the big aficionados. He does books with lots of colour pictures and tells you about
Matt, pull your background
underground.
thing off.
Yeah,
Matt, pull your green screen off because I can only just see bits of it.
only just, yeah.
Yeah.
But he does books. I mean, he's got a great book out at the moment, and I would like to bring him on because we could go through some of the books he's got, like this. And it's
There you go,
it's like
guys.
showing you underground pictures and rooms and railways, and this guy knows his shit, yeah. And yeah,
Wow.
so if you want to check him out, Nick McCamley, he's got a lot of books on the underground stuff, and I would love to get him on. He did say he would come on, but I just never got. Oh, fucking, I've got so many people I could bring on, and I just never get fucking round to doing some of it. It's like crazy. But yeah, he is one guest that you will not want to miss. And if you've got any questions about underground bunkers and anything, right? I mean, even if it's
You'll
not
be
in
the man
Corsham,
to know.
he's a very, very good person to speak to about it. And yeah, I mean, he might have a take on that question, like why haven't they like just collapsed the mines to stop people getting near to the bunkers and stuff? I don't know. I don't know.
It's like I don't know. It's just like this whole thing of today. Well, yesterday, should I say? Yeah, it was just like a weird ass day, mate. Do you know what I mean? Boxing Day was just a weird day. Because like the things I was like looking and I was trying to sort bits out and stuff like that. I'm supposed to be packing all my stuff up, mate, because I am literally out on a mission, mate, in about 12 hours, I think. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's just
Is that
crazy.
you going
It's
down
like,
that place you told me?
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, good.
So I'm not back then till next year, guys.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah,
do you know what I saw tonight?
Go on.
Your girlfriend.
Which one?
Yeah. The one that you rib ruthlessly.
Oh, what's she done this time?
She was going in like we went to see a house together with her and her husband.
Oh,
Yeah. So we went and had a look because they were like down this way, and they said, "Oh, do you want to come?"
nice.
And I said, "Yeah, right." So
they went. I knew they were going out. Like, so yeah, it was pretty cool. Like,
yeah, I mean they were over in Cambridge earlier on, and it's like, oh, I said, "Are you coming down here after that?"
Yeah, but listen to this, yeah. They went all the way, right, to the other side of Norfolk. Not Norfolk. Where was it now? Where was it? Hang on 1 second. Mate, this is how fucking scatty that he is, yeah. Where was it now? Hang on. Scunthorpe. Yeah. So they were over like that sort of area. Yeah. Then they drove all the way to the other side of the country to mine. Right. They drove to mid Wales, right, to go and look at this one place. They drove all the way back to mine. Then they drove all the way home.
Mm.
That's how scatty they are, mate. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, I'm just thinking out. I saw somebody do something earlier on. Super chatted £5. Dave Ray. That's right, because I heard the noise and then I didn't like react. Sorry, Dave Ray super chatted £5. No message. Super chatted 4.49. Have a beverage on me, which I know I've had. So there we are. Yeah, so that I just thought, I remember somebody, and I just scrolled up, and it's the chat's gone too far. Anyway, it's getting way too late. Look, it's nearly 5 o'clock. I think we need to call it. And then
Right, but
I will try and seriously think about getting Nick McCamley on if he will come on. I'm
in the new
just see
year,
whether or not
mate.
he's
Just
see if,
something for the new year, isn't it?
yeah, because the thing is, there's a lot of people on here that would love to hear what he's got to say, and it would be a great opportunity to promote his books because you would have to read them to kind of realize just how knowledgeable this guy is, and it would be a good opportunity to get him a few book sales. So I'm sure because we're into that sort of thing, and it is a niche market, isn't it? Really, I mean,
Oh yeah.
like what we're into, underground bases and underground bunkers and caves and
Oh, I
quarries
would
and
definitely be
urbex.
looking into it.
Yeah. And he even, a lot of people don't realize, he even was the curator of the Monkton Farley underground massive
Was it
mine.
actually?
Yeah, and he had it for a while. It was actually his. He was the key holder, and it was his. It was his mine, but they just didn't have the money to keep it going, so it got handed back, and then became like this document storage facility that it is today. But yeah, so
Wow.
he's not only loves this stuff, he's actually like been in charge of it at some point, So
That is mental because
mm,
there's some other bits literally on the same site, isn't there?
yeah.
Of the Farley Down. There are other entrances and stuff like that, isn't there? And
Oh,
yeah,
it's a
it's a bit
massive
crazy. In
site.
fact, my videos are out actually for Farley Down,
Mm.
part 1 and part 2. I think it's first and second week of January.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really weird. I did that I think it was like 14 months ago. I think I
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they,
So
they know who we're talking about. By the way, I was talking about Claire. Yeah. Yeah, Claire.
yeah.
Claire. But the thing is, like I said earlier on, I said I've been out with somebody, but she's called Urban Paranormal 666, but she's not, because you said tonight, I've changed my name again. It's
Yeah,
like,
to
Jesus.
TV. I know I
You
keep telling her
If you keep changing your name, people can't find you because they search for you and you don't
exactly what
exist.
I've said, mate. Yeah, because they're looking for one thing and they can't find
Can't
it.
find you anymore. It's like it's a very
Yeah.
silly thing to
And
do, I
then
think.
people
But
start
there we
losing
are.
your subscribers. Do you know what I mean? Because people can't find it because you've not watched the stuff in so many months.
Yeah. But anyway, what the fuck do I know? I mean, she's welcome
Mate,
to
you
do
know
whatever
fuck
she
all, mate.
wants.
You're stuck on 40,000 fucking subscribers. Not like you know fuck all, is it? Do you know what I mean?
I know. So there we are. Well, folks, it's been very interesting.
Been
Thank you for
emotional.
coming. Thank you for coming on, Taffy, and keeping
Yeah, no, it's cool, man.
the interest going. Um,
Yeah.
I'll try and get this stuff out in the next couple of days, but I have to see what I've got on and what's happening, and then we'll get it out there. But yeah,
Be cool, like, do you know what I mean? To see the finished project as such.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? So it'd be cool, mate, if you put it all together, mate. Make one big video out of it.
yeah. This is Urban
Just so,
Paranormal TV. Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
So
yeah, that's it. Yeah,
okay. What happened to the
but yeah,
Secret Vault Unleashed? Well, that was where when we get mega pissed and we're just like I'm being stupid, and it hasn't really got much to do with the channel. Those things, the embarrassments end up on Unleashed. And if there's some sort of
yeah.
if we're like half, I think we've been half sensible tonight. So
Oh
you
no,
know
I think I've done quite well tonight,
we
mate.
I think these are the sorts of videos that can stay because we're talking on
Yeah,
topic. When
it
we
stayed on as well,
just get
pretty much.
crazy, then those are a bit of an
Oh,
embarrassment, and they go on to Unleashed.
yeah. See,
Yeah.
mine just get privatized. Then no sod sees them at all ever again.
Mm.
Not last night, the night before, it went a bit crazy. I was like, "Bleh." private, quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
That was just like, fuck off, you horrible cunt.
It's
Like,
it's not delete. The channel's not deleted. No, it definitely isn't deleted. It is out
no,
there, but uh, I've not made a big thing of advertising it because, of course, if I make a big thing of advertising it, everyone's going to go over and look at me like being pissed and like making jokes about shoving my cock in things, you know. And it's like,
that's
yeah,
it. It's like when you get out of the bath in it and your knob just hangs out in it.
yeah. So
That's it.
yeah, those
They're
sorts of
all the good things.
See,
Do you know what I mean?
see, I'm the whole reason for that channel was so I could hide those funnies over there, so that those that know, right? But
Where to find them.
anyone who's quite serious that I want to get on the show isn't going to find one of those stupid
Just
videos and
see
go,
them.
"I'm not going on that show. He's a fucking
Whoa.
knob." See, that was the whole reason for the Secret Vault Unleashed, was to hide those jokey videos so I can get serious guests on the show, you know. So
Yeah.
there we are. Yeah.
It's all good though, isn't it, mate? I mean, it's got to be done on it.
Mm.
So, but yeah, guys, thank you to everybody in the chat anyway. You've all been absolutely fantastic. Thank you to everybody as well on
What
the
he said.
old, yeah, man,
What he said.
and all them, yeah, and the moderators. You're all absolute shit. I'm not joking. You're amazing. Thank
Yeah.
you, guys.
And they
It means a
smell.
lot. Like glue.
They smell of glue and fish. Gluey fish.
Yeah, mate.
Like they've been
But
put in a
tuna.
blender. Yeah.
That's it, mate. With yeah, I'm not even gonna say a name, but yeah, Mrs. Manure.
What? What's all that?
Oh, fucking. What's her fucking name now?
Yeah, but you're going to
Mr.
say her name now.
fucking
You said it.
I know, I was gonna.
Oh, that one. Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought, Jesus, he's not slagging off somebody that we have as a. I thought you were slagging off a bloody
No,
mod
no.
then. I was like, who the fuck's
No,
Mrs.
not a
Manure then?
mod,
We're going to
no.
lose them as a
I've
mod now, aren't we?
Yeah, and probably 50 others.
Oh, I know you mean, yeah. The
yeah.
fucking them whose name shall not be mentioned, but we shall call them by their name, the Maritzes. They've given up
That's
now.
the one, mate.
They've given up trying to get my videos taken down because they realise it just don't work. It just
Mate,
don't
you know
work.
what, right? When I'm actually in the area, mate, I'm actually gonna go down there, and I'm actually gonna go in there, and I'm just gonna be like, "And so, Mrs. fucking Maritz, with my fucking drone in your forehead, you horrible bastard."
Yeah.
And that's what's gonna be said.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I
never
would like to
mind.
go back there actually, but I think what I'll do is I'm going to wear a disguise so that it can't be
What,
spotted
you're
as
actually
me.
gonna put hair on and stuff?
I'm going to stand behind everybody and I'm going to let everyone go up the front, and I'm going to be in the back just giggling at everyone else having a go at them,
Look,
you know, and I'm just going to be sitting there
look,
in the
I've
background.
got the ghillie suit. The ghillie suit is ready, mate.
Yeah.
It's hanging up. It's ready. Do you know what I mean? So
Because
yeah,
that place is a very good place to visit, actually. I mean, it's a great location, and it's managed to survive the test of time as well. And yeah, so, but hopefully it'll get sold, and some people will do it up, and it'll become a proper place again because it's been left to go to
it
shit.
needs it. It does need it. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But would you really want to live next door to them either?
I think if I lived there and they were kicking
I
off,
think you should buy it, mate.
I would.
I think you
I
should
would.
buy it.
I
Just
would deal
to
with
off-
that one very quickly.
Oh yeah.
It would be a short, sharp shock. There, you know, it's like the only reason I tolerated them is because it looks good on film. Not that I goaded that
Yeah.
situation, but it's like the fact that it was happening. I'm just like, carry on.
You're making
Carry
yourself
on.
look stupid now.
You know what I mean? Carry on.
It's rough.
Yeah, but the thing is, if I was living there and they were getting in my face like that, yeah, it would be dealt with extremely quickly. I would not be putting up with that at all. Yeah. Yeah.
Whack.
Mm.
Yeah, man. No, it's
Yeah.
cool, man. Right, guys, we're going.
Okay. All the best.
And we'll see you all soon, guys.
Okay, all the best. Cheers, Taffy. And yeah, don't
No
don't
worries, mate.
subscribe. Don't let Jimmy Savile part your flaps.
That's it, mate. But he
It's
touched
as
me
a
where are we
ghost.
from?
Don't let the ghost Jimmy Savile come and get you at night.
I don't mind, mate, as long as Uncle Rolf gets me.
You heard it first here. Taffy doesn't mind.